what he said last Tuesday, but at least it'll be something to get some audio from and continue to get excited a little bit as we move toward again the start of college football season. And then again, starting next week, we'll get into fall camp and all the good things that come with that. So if you want to be a part of the program this morning, 803 404 6100. That's how you can hop on and join us. As always, you can be a part of the live stream as well. Just go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click and subscribe, join along, weigh in if you'd like to this morning. Again, plenty to get into, but I tell you, Patrick, the main thing that we'll talk about this morning for a little bit, and it'll center around several different topics involving one large topic. GG Jackson makes it official over the weekend. He will be a Gamecock, and he'll be a Gamecock in this particular class, 3 o'clock Saturday. He put out an announcement that he would be committing to the University of South Carolina and enrolling. I think he put out an Instagram live yesterday where he was not condo. What is it? What would you say? I don't want to call them dorms. If you've been down to 1801, those are not dorms. Anybody that's ever been to college,
they're apartments.
Yeah, they are. Those things are not dorms. Those are they're not even upscale dorms. They're full-on luxury apartments. You're exactly right. But he was doing some shopping there. All right, now Gigi's in the fold. What do you make of this, Patrick?
It is kind of weird because we all pretty much knew that this was coming, and the information, the way it was coming out, was weird, and we weren't even sure if he was going to announce it at certain points, and he might just show up and start taking classes, and that was just going to be that. But it's big. I mean, it's huge. You saw the picture of Lamont Paris got at Peach Jam with the biggest smile on his face. This is huge for him. I mean, it's been a rocky start, lost a lot. It was going to be a pretty good team. And Frank Martin obviously gets fired and everyone clears out. He needed a big win. He hasn't really had one so far. He's picked up some transfers, some grad transfers, some guys that will occupy time on the court, but no one that's going to make a big difference or really improve this roster from what it was last year. And to now be gifted the number one player in the country, the best recruit your team has ever had. I don't know if he's the number one player in this class. I don't even know who the number one player in this class is. Did they re-rank him number one, Bill?
They have, to my knowledge, nobody. I'm sure there will be a re-ranking done now that Peach Jam is over. More than likely, just knowing how it's done is that all the guys for Own 3 or for 24/7 will go home this week and they'll bang heads together and they'll come out with a re-ranking or a final ranking, so to speak, of the 2022 class. And yeah, they'll factor GG Jackson into that at that point and go from there. But usually, I know when I did rankings, the basketball rankings, the couple times I had to do it, you would go home after the final game at Peach Jam, which is the end of the EYBL league, and you would take 2 or 3 days putting your top 100, top 150 together, and then go from there as it pertained to final ranking. So I would expect a final ranking from again all the recruiting services like Thursday or Friday at the absolute latest. Maybe they wait till Monday. I'm not sure how some of those operate now, but just knowing from years past, that's kind of how it always worked.
So I guess we'll see. I mean, I remember Jabari Parker being the number one player in his class for all 3 years, and then Andrew Wiggins reclassified at the last minute and knocked him out of the first place spot. So maybe we'll see something like that for Gigi jumping forward. But as it stands, he's the highest ranked recruit South Carolina's ever had. I mean, you can't get higher than number one. So what it means for this year and what it means going forward could be two different things. What it means for this year is you're going to have someone to watch every week that is going to be electric. He's going to be fantastic. You're going to want to watch games because you got GG Jackson on the court. It means that South Carolina's going to get national attention that they would have otherwise gotten. It means that they're going to be on SportsCenter most days if he's making highlight reel plays and if he's expected to go number one or be a high draft pick. But going forward is where you need to figure out a way to build off of this. Cam Scott is going to take a visit to the Gamecocks, and you've got other guys in the line behind him. There's always talent coming out of Columbia. And you got to make sure these guys aren't going to Tennessee, that they're not going to Alabama, that you can keep them out of the North Carolina schools. You just got to find a way to keep these guys, and hopefully Gigi Jackson can be the guy that starts a trend of that and allows Lamont Paris to keep building off of this commitment and keep guys home for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, uh, a lot of kind of kudos to go around when you mention Lamont Paris. I think first, when you do this is actually an incredible parting gift from Frank Martin. I think Frank Martin deserves as much credit for this as Lamont Paris. Frank Martin played a huge role in this. If it wasn't for Frank Martin and his staff, putting the idea and selling GG Jackson on the idea of being able to stay home, be a local hero, kind of be a trendsetter, do something that nobody else does, which is go to the University of South Carolina. Very rarely does it happen. Of course, we've seen Sindarius Thornwell, uh, PJ Dozier, some very highly recruited guys. You go back to Rolando Howe and BJ Mackey, guys that stayed home coming out of high school. Obviously, Devin Downey, Zam Frederick transferred back. Larry Davis transferred back. But this is a highly rated guy that was sold on the idea of being a local hero coming in for 1 year. Now, when all that was happening, again, there was a roster there that GG could look at and say, all right, there's a good chance to make an NCAA tournament on this and have a pretty good team. But I think you got to give credit to Frank Martin for getting that vision into the family's head, getting that vision into GG Jackson's head. And then you give credit to Lamont Paris for just kind of playing it out. Look, this would be same thing. North Carolina, I don't think North Carolina made a mistake here. They took Pete Nance because they were under the impression that GG Jackson was going to wait until the 2023 class, and things changed. Things evolved. GG had an incredible month of June and July on the AAU circuit. We've talked about it. The CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, the NBA is set to expire, and GG wanted to speed this process up. And, that option was still there for the University of South Carolina as opposed to North Carolina. The Tar Heels took a guy that could help them immediately this year, as opposed to, kind of kicking along with Jackson. And so all of a sudden, North Carolina's out of scholarships. South Carolina has 2 available, and it works out where Lamont Paris had at least built that relationship to the point that GG and his family felt comfortable. So I think you give Frank Martin a lot of credit for this. I think you give I think you give Lamont Paris credit for knowing how to stick with this and kind of play it out. And it works. And now we'll get into more of it this morning as to what it means for South Carolina's basketball program in 2022-2023. But certainly that was the big news of the weekend. Patrick, on what was kind of a quiet weekend, you would agree there wasn't a whole lot else taking place there sports-wise. It was a relatively quiet weekend. Major League Baseball got back into full swing. But other than that, there was the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Did you watch any of that yesterday, by the way? I've never watched it, and I guess because it was on a Sunday, I just happened to be watching some of it, and it was actually kind of neat to see a little bit of it.
I didn't even know that happened. What channel was it on?
Major League, the MLB Network.
Yeah, no, I did not watch any of that. I watched the F1 race in the morning, drove back here. Apparently, some of the biggest news is coming from NASCAR.
Yes, it is. I had a conversation with one Jen Jensen about this last night, who was very surprised to learn that I was the winner this past weekend of our
I still don't think you get full points for it.
I beg to differ. We will discuss this later. Yes, I've never seen Jen. You said you were going to be interested. I guess there's no real news that's come out. If you don't know what happened, I did actually watch the last 20 laps yesterday, and Denny Hamlin it wasn't really a duel there toward the end. Denny Hamlin kind of pulled away from Kyle Busch, and I was pulling for Denny Hamlin.
No, but what he did with Ross Chastain was also interesting. Wrecking Ross Chastain, and then Ross Chastain in the interview, it's like, yeah, I had that one coming.
Well, he didn't really wreck. He didn't necessarily wreck him. He just kind of didn't give him a lot more space. It was.
Yeah, I tried to watch the highlight, and it looked like he barely touched him, but then Ross Chastain hits the wall and wrecks. So I didn't really understand.
Is
that all it takes? Is that all the contact it takes to lose control? I guess
it can, depending on how he hit it and stuff. He didn't give him much room. But Ross said, hey, I've earned it. This should, and even the commentator said, okay, enough. This should be it. Like, scores should be settled and whatever. But, it was interesting. And like I said, I'm sure Joe Gibbs is not a happy man right now because, Joe's the owner of somewhat still connected to the Denny Hamlin car, but then also Kyle Busch. So, yeah, they had some stuff basically like on the front grill or the front fascia or something like that. Some materials that were on there that could have impacted, the aero of the car. So could have helped the speed. That's just not cool.
So we will. It was interesting. We will get into a little bit of that this morning, and plenty to cover. But if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program this morning. Again, you can go to our excuse me, our YouTube page and join along on our live stream. Robin, Anthony, Jerry, Anthony Banks, Justin, all up and at it with us. As you can tell, I'm a little under the weather. I've been under the weather since Saturday, so as you can tell, I'm going to struggle. I'm not playing at 100% this morning. So I will rely on Patrick and Jen to kind of carry me through. But we will figure everything out. We'll get you up and going here at 6:15 on a Monday morning. You're listening to Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, and Bill Gunner. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Extra Point. Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Monday edition of the Extra Point, we'll be continuing to unpack a few of the storylines from SEC Media Days that we didn't get to last week, and just generally decompressing after a really fun, busy, eventful week that was SEC Media Days. Also, I'm recording this on a Friday afternoon after having just seen Nope, new Jordan Peele movie, and I'm probably going to need to talk about that for at least a segment. Wes Mitchell will be with us to talk recruiting and start to look ahead to the football season. It'll be a packed Monday show starting at 9 o'clock.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and...
Good to see everybody this morning. Hope y'all are doing good, hanging in there. Thank you very much, Justin. That's very, very sweet of you. Good to see you there, Carlton. Good morning. Robin, yep, vacation hangover is a real thing. Let me get my water over here. All right. Very, very kind of you then. Thank you. Very kind of you. I will definitely check out Carnival for next summer. Definitely try and check that out. All right, let's see here.
Coach Ice-T, ready to spin. We're starting with the big hill. Let's ride.
Why is Ice-T using glass? Oh, it's probably the Honey Nut Cheerios. He found out they can help lower cholesterol. Now he's having fun taking care of his heart in all sorts of new ways.
That's right, bud. Now spin it. Really pour your heart into it and pick it up.
Learn more by picking up a box of Cheerios. And check out our Pour Your Heart Into It on your workouts with Ice-T and Buzz to get your heart pumping.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5. Stop by.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
.622 on a Monday morning, July the 25th. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perret, Jen Jensen. There was a few news notes from the weekend. Let's give you some of those. I think this is good news. John Metchie III. This is the start of it's not good news, but I think the back part is good. Was diagnosed with leukemia. I'm not sure, acute promyeloid. I probably wasn't close. Leukemia is the most curable form of the disease. Patrick, he will likely not play in 2022, but he did put out a social media post on Sunday. He said, "I'm currently receiving great medical care, am in good spirits, and I expect to make a recovery at a later point in time. I will likely not be playing football this season. My main focus will be on my health and recovery. Thank you in advance for your support and well wishes. I cannot wait to come back stronger than ever. God bless." So John Metchie, that's unfortunate news, but hopefully that is the fact that it's the most curable form of leukemia gives hope that John Metchie will be able to make a full recovery and be back out on the football field in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, that's just terrible news, right? As he's getting ready for training camp to have that dropped on him. But yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about the specifics of it, but as stated, the most curable form. So I don't know what the timeline is for that or what he even has to do, but it'll be good that hopefully the Texans rally around him. The organization helps him out with everything he needs. He's going to have great healthcare and everything like that. So I guess we got to just wait and see, cross our fingers. He seems like a good kid, John Metchie. He was very solid for Alabama for years, and seen no signs of anything. I've never heard any drama or anything. I know very little about him off the field other than he's, I think, Canadian. But by all accounts, seems like a good kid, and just hope everything goes well for him.
Yeah, just unfortunate news. But again, as someone who's dealt with leukemia in their life, my mother had it and passed away of it when I was 9 years old. I'm kind of familiar with it. And obviously that was in 92. So 30 years later, how they treat it and what they have to do is completely changed. But it was scary at first when I saw it yesterday, but good news for him. Other news, kind of unfortunate over the weekend, Braves outfielder Adam Duvall will miss the rest of the season after having season-ending wrist surgery on his left wrist this week. It was thought he'd be out for just a few weeks, but now he will be out for the remainder of the season. He was hitting .213 with 12 home runs this season, while alternating with Eddie Rosario out in left field. So we'll see what happens to the Braves here, who going into yesterday had cut it to a half game there, a half game back of the Mets last night. I assume the Mets won. They were a big when I fell asleep, Patrick. The Braves, though, lost yesterday to the Angels 9-1. So I would assume they're a game and a half back as things stand here this morning. So a couple things from the weekend there. We'll get into a few other things. As Patrick mentioned, the NASCAR race actually was pretty interesting from the standpoint, a couple different things. Ross Chastain being knocked out and then basically kind of admitting, yeah, probably had that one coming. Wasn't necessarily anything I could do about it. But the main thing is to see number 1 and number 2. Denny Hamlin wins. And Patrick, I don't know if you saw all the little things that it would have meant for Denny Hamlin. It would have been his 7th win at Pocono. Jen, I guess you probably already know this. I would have pushed him. I would have pushed him ahead of who would have it pushed him ahead of? Do you know? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
It would have given him the most wins all time at Pocono. He would have had 7. Also would have put him into the top 2 heading into the FedEx Cup playoffs. Is it the FedEx Cup? Or am I confusing that with golf?
Yeah,
but heading
golf.
heading into the playoffs in just a couple weeks. So,
but as far as like total number of wins in his career, he was approaching Tony Stewart's record. So that put him at like 48 wins.
49.
I think. So 49.
Yesterday would have been yesterday would have been 49 for him. I know certain things. I don't know everything on that, but I'm repeating what I saw on television to cite somebody. But anyway, it would have been his 3rd win of the season. It would have been his 49th of his career, and yes, it would have moved him past Hall of Famer Tony Stewart for 15th on NASCAR's all-time win list. But it's odd, Jen. You follow this way more than I do. Have you ever seen number 1 and number 2 disqualified?
Not really. You know, you'll see some disqualifications, but it's not very often that you see the top 2. That's I don't know. In the past couple of years, I think maybe 2 have like winners have lost that. I mean, there no more than that. So I mean, it just doesn't happen that often. But you do see people disqualified, and that's the reason they do the post-race inspections. It's like, okay, we inspect the car before the race, we inspect it after the race, and you know what? Play fair.
Yeah. That is my.
Why didn't they catch it before?
Because they may have modified it during the race.
They stuffed something in there during the race.
Yeah. It could have been, something that they added. And there's just so many things that you can do. I mean, even down to adding tape to the grill and things like that affects the aero and how the air comes in, and can affect downforce and everything. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see a little bit more specifics about it. But I'm pretty sure that there's probably going to be some consequences in the pits.
Well, if they had played fairly, we all know who would have won, and he ended up winning anyway, Chase Elliott. So I'm glad to see that NASCAR got it right, and that my pick goes on to win, and I get the full 7 points.
It's funny, though. He whined on Friday. You took my pick, Gary. You took my pick.
He did take my pick, but I didn't know. I was picking a cheater this weekend. I was totally unaware.
I don't like him anyway, but he did. He probably had no idea, and he's probably mad. At least I'm hoping he didn't know.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. Again, locally, the big news, Patrick, is GG Jackson and what could happen with him. Our Clemson buddy, Jim in Carolina Beach, hits us up and says, is GG going to be a one and done or stay for a couple years? Patrick, I think, obviously he's coming with the intention of being a one and done, but he is reclassifying. And this is a situation I think that's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be something right now. This roster is not really doing him favors. He's going to be the absolute best player without a doubt on this roster. The second he starts practice, or I guess he's the best player now, he will be the best player. He doesn't have a great deal around him. I am excited to see what a new coach, a different voice does for Chico Carter Jr., who I think can be a better two guard, who I actually think can help this team. Point guard's a major concern. The low post, the center position is a major concern. I mean, this is a situation where I'm very interested to see what this roster can do, because I like Chico Carter Jr. Again, I think he can be a shooter that South Carolina's needed, but I mean, it's a situation where this is a risk for GG Jackson.
It is, but he's still going to have a chance to shine. I mean, maybe more of a chance to shine at this point, but everybody knows his name. All he's got to do is be him, basically. I mean, he's 6'8". He can shoot, he can dribble, he can dunk, he can play defense, he can pretty much do everything. So if he just plays well, it's not like you have to lead your team single-handedly to the tournament. I think Anthony Edwards was the number one pick after not taking Georgia to the tournament. So it happens. Ben Simmons was number 1 pick after not taking LSU to the tournament. So as long as he plays his game and I guess, lives up to the hype on the court, NBA scouts are going to notice, and they're not going to carry their way. So, but it is a risk for him in the sense that you get your one and done shot. You probably want to play in March. That's what you grew up wanting to do. That's why you committed to North Carolina originally. You wanted to play for a national championship. So committed to the team that has just come off of a national championship appearance makes a lot of sense. So it is a risk in a way, but he'll have support here. Hopefully he can lift everybody. I mean, it's hard. It's a lot to ask for a freshman, especially one who's supposed to be a senior in high school, to be the focal point of a team from day one and draw all the attention so that the role players are able to have more opportunities to shine. But that's pretty much what's going to be expected from him.
This is the report from Adam Finkelstein, for CBS and 24/7 Sports. He put out a kind of a final evaluation on Sunday regarding GG Jackson. Let me kind of get you some of this here. He says defensively, GG, he should be fine at the college level, but may end up seeing more time as a 5-man than advertised, and that's the key development to watch from an NBA standard. A 6'8" or even 6'9" small ball 5-man is not a prototype that is in very high demand. His ability to transition to a modern day NBA 4-man has much more to do with his versatility on the defensive end than it does the offensive end. In short, there are questions about how well he moves his feet away from the basket, and that's something scouts are going to be watching closely next season. So just a little bit of a scouting report from GG from this past weekend this past week over at Peach Jam. When we come back, Gamecock Larry says it's almost trash talking time, so we need to let him warm you up for some trash talking time. We'll get to him and more when we return. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game, streaming 24/7.
1 billion of us own a smartphone, and we know how addicting it can be.
Just go to iTunes or the Google Play Store and download our app.
So you never miss any of your favorite shows.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5
The Game.
And need to tell you about our friends at Canty Foundation Specialists. They are the best foundation repair specialists in the Midlands. You can find them in Columbia. You can find them in Greenville as well. Augusta, Charlotte, Charleston. Doesn't matter where you are in the Carolinas, Canty will be able to help you out. 803-424-8380 is their number. And again, they are the foundation experts. So if you have any signs of foundation problems, that would be cracks in your exterior brick, in your walls, above your windows or door frames, or cracks over your garage door. These can all be signs of foundation problems, as well as uneven or bouncy floors or doors or windows that stick. If you have any of these, you need to drop what you're doing. Call 803-424-8380. And they're also the crawl space repair experts. The crawl space, very, very important. 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space, so you need to make sure it's taken care of, especially if you've recently experienced a storm. There could be standing water under your home, and there could be humidity and condensation building up to create an environment for mold, mildew, and pests, including termites. That moisture can also lead to wood rot and floor joist problems, and because of 50% of the air you breathe in your home coming from your crawl space, those musty smells and awful odors coming from the mold and mildew can cause health issues like runny nose, itchy eyes, and cause coughs. So again, 803-424-8380 is the number you're going to want to call. And if you have concrete repair needs, if you have commercial service needs, concrete leveling, basement waterproofing, pretty much anything, they can take care of it for you. So again, give them a call, 803-424-8380, or find Canty online. The website is cantycanfixit.com.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Looks like just one tie-up to let you know about, and that's I-20 eastbound, right there at exit 92. And your forecast for today, looking for high of 93 with a mix of clouds and sun. Few scattered clouds tomorrow, 92 for the high, and 96 for your high on Wednesday. It's overcast right now, and it's 74 at 107.5 The Game.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
It's the Love Chevrolet countdown to Gamecock football.
48 till kickoff.
Others take full advantage of the market. We remain true to who we are. We never charge above MSRP or take advantage of you with add-ons. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
I'm John Stashower with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Texans rookie wide receiver John Mechie III is unlikely to play this season after being diagnosed with a treatable form of leukemia. Mechie released a statement Sunday saying, in part, "I am currently receiving great medical care, am in good spirits, and I expect to make a recovery at a later point in time. As a result of this diagnosis, I will likely not be playing football this season. My main focus will be on my health and recovery. Thank you in advance for your support and well wishes." Elsewhere, the Bills placed cornerback Tre'Davious White on the physically unable to perform list as he continues to recover from a torn ACL injury he suffered back in November. And Rams cornerback Jalen Ramsey will avoid the PUP list and is expected to participate in training camp on a limited basis, according to head coach Sean McVay. Ramsey continues to recover from shoulder surgery he underwent in June. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you.
Paid for by NHTSA.
DQ presents Picture This. Picture yourself at DQ on Thursday, July 28th for Miracle Treat Day. You roll up to order a Blizzard with your friends and family like you have so many times before. But on this day, every flavor comes with a much-needed dose of hope. For every Blizzard you buy at participating locations, $1 or more will be donated to Children's Miracle Network hospitals for your local children's hospital, making Miracle Treat Day the most satisfying way to give hope to kids in your community. Thursday, July 28th at DQ.
Experience a car wash service like no other. Tommy's Express Car Wash at 4700 Divine Street. With modern tools, expertise, and quick service, Tommy's Express Car Wash will keep your car clean inside and out. Get your car looking clean.
Yeah, it's a lot more risky. It's a lot more risky. He's banking on being a one and done player. He's banking on being a one and done player, and there's a lot there to it, man. It's a lot more risky than Gilmore.
803-404-6100 if you want to be a part of the program. Last week was SEC Media Day. This week it'll slow down just a little bit, but coming up on Thursday, it'll be Birdies with Beamer, where the media will meet with Shane and the staff before they really get going 2 weeks from now with fall camp. So that means it's almost trash talking season, and our official commissioner of trash talking season, Gamecock Larry, is up this morning to tell us all about what we are allowed to and not allowed to do over the next few weeks as it comes to trash talking. Gamecock Larry, how you feeling this morning?
Feeling pretty good. 8 days for trash talking time. I ain't gonna talk no trash rest of this week. August 1st, my birthday, be 69 and kicking. But I've read and I've seen where all you guys, I'm counting you too, Bill, picked the Gamecocks to finish number 5 in the East. Well, I'm just going to put a little thing out there to you right now, and I'm going to hang up, but I ain't going to talk. I'm going to trash till next Monday. When the Gamecocks beat Georgia in the 3rd game of the season. And you notice, I hope, I said when, not if but I said when the Gamecocks beat Georgia in the third game of the season, that will wrap up the SEC East for the Gamecocks, because they're going to run over the other. I think it's 6 games they got. I don't know. Anyway, they're going to run over the rest of the SEC East, and they will beat Texas A&M in the West, and we're going to have to worry about Arkansas in the second game. But I'm going to say when we beat Arkansas, that means we're going to go play Alabama in the championship game, and then we're going to take care of Alabama. We're going to be in the Final Four in 2022. How about that? Go Gamecocks. I ain't no more trash. Go Gamecocks. I'll call you Monday and I'll have it all written down and give it to you. Like it's going to wind up. Go Gamecocks.
There you go. All right. Yeah, Patrick, that would be that would be quite the jump. You would agree with that to end up in the Final Four?
He's not the only person that thinks it.
Oh.
South Carolina did get 3 first-place votes.
Vanderbilt got 1. Vanderbilt got 1. Yeah.
Do you think there's not a Vanderbilt Larry out there, a Vandy Larry out there, saying the same thing?
I think
each and every day.
I think he's known as the Whistler. I think that's the Whistler guy. I don't know. I mean, look, like I said, those things are stupid. I actually had South Carolina 4th. I had South Carolina 4th. I did put Tennessee ahead of them. Kentucky, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina, UF, Missouri, and Vandy. It's really a toss-up. Just it resonates in my mind, and until proven otherwise, what Tennessee did to South Carolina last year, Patrick. I don't think you can just toss that aside. I know it's one game and everything, but it would be the same thing as saying I don't think South Carolina is 23 points better than Florida. South Carolina might be the better program, and but I don't think Tennessee is that much better than South Carolina. But I'd give them the slight edge. Are you with me on that? Or are you leaning? Would you be the homer and go South Carolina over Tennessee and give them 3rd in the East, or would you give them 2nd? Would you just move them ahead of Kentucky as well?
No, I'd give them 4th, but I don't. It seems like there was big gaps in a lot of these because Tennessee and Kentucky were three votes apart, 929 and 932 votes, and then over 200 votes behind them is Florida at 712 and South Carolina at 662. I don't think the gap's that big. I think Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Florida. I think Florida's not going to be very good. I think Florida should have been 5th, but they're all kind of the same. I'm surprised there's such a big gap between them, but then it's a distant. Missouri's in the distant 6th, and then an even far more distant 7th is Vanderbilt. So I don't necessarily think the breakdown or the gap is as big as the media would indicate.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning as we roll on and wrap up the first hour. Up next, you're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Football season is just around the corner. The question is your house ready to host people for the big game? If not, it's time to call Zero Res. Get them out to your home this afternoon, this week. Get those carpets, the rugs, the tile, the upholstery, all insanely clean with Zero Res's patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep everything, your carpet, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery, all cleaner for longer. And right now you can take advantage of Zero Res's July deal. That is 15% off when you say my name, when you use my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020, or you can book with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, just mention my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you can get 15% off all cleaning services. That's right. Whether it's your carpets, your area rugs, your upholstery, your tile, maybe your air ducts, 15% off everything. Zero Res understands that every dollar counts these days, so you can save big with their summer sale going on now. 15% off everything right now when you contact Zero Res, 888-262-4020. Or again, you can book with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Just that one accident. They're working on the northeast side, I-20 eastbound there at exit 92. That's Highway 601. Your forecast for today, a little bit of humidity, but looking for a high of 93, 92 tomorrow. Right now, though, 74 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Indeed.com. If your business is feeling a summer hiring wave, then you need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you in the market for a diamond but aren't sure what to get? For example, do you buy a mine diamond or are you thinking about a lab-grown one? Hey, this is Scott with Traditions Fine Jewelers, and we want to help you decide because at Traditions, we carry a large selection of both mined and lab-grown diamonds. A mined diamond is classic. It was formed in the earth millions of years ago, and for many people, the idea of getting something discovered and cut just for you is so romantic, it can make the start of your forever together ring unforgettable. A lab-grown diamond is just what the name says. It was grown in the laboratory and has all the same characteristics as a mined diamond. It's graded just like a mined diamond, and the FTC has even ruled the lab-grown diamonds should be called diamonds because that's what they are. What's great about lab is that you'll find you can get a bigger, brighter, whiter diamond for the same price. Traditions Fine Jeweler staff is ready to help you find the perfect diamond just for you, mined or lab-grown. Traditions Fine Jewelers in Lexington and our newest location at Sand Hill, where the Midlands get engaged.
Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock football.
40 days till kickoff.
Others take full advantage of the market. We remain true to who we are. We never charge above MSRP or take advantage of you with add-ons. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Marsh LLC is responsible for this ad. The following is an important message for anyone who was a serviceman or had family members stationed at or worked at the Marine Corps Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. You may be entitled to significant cash compensation. That's right. If you or a loved one worked, lived, or served at Camp Lejeune anytime between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial cash compensation for illnesses caused by water contamination. Call 800-931-9594. Even if you were denied a disability claim in the past. Officials at Camp Lejeune were aware of water contamination on the base for decades, but failed to warn those who were stationed at or worked at the base. Studies have shown the water at Camp Lejeune was contaminated with toxic chemicals that are linked to many types of cancer and other serious diseases, including cardiac birth defects. If you or a loved one worked, lived, or served at Camp Lejeune and were later diagnosed with cancer, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, or Parkinson's disease, call 800-931-9594 now, as you may be entitled to a meaningful financial settlement. Call right now. 800-931-9594. Don't wait. Call 800-931-9594. 800-931-9594.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The Early Game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
The Early Game, 107.5
The Game.
Final segment of the first hour. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perret, Jen Jensen, as we cruise through on a Monday morning, July the 25th. Again, we'll get more into the GG Jackson stuff, obviously. A lot of different pieces there as it pertains. South Carolina does have one scholarship remaining now, and it will be interesting, Patrick, to see how Lamont Paris tries to use that. There are some guys still left in the transfer portal. Maybe some guys in the 2022 class that would be wanting to come and play with GG Jackson for 1 year. It's going to be interesting because right now, adding Jackson's huge, and it's going to make this season a lot more entertaining. But I think at the end of the day, you're still talking about a roster that's bottom half of the league overall in terms of talent. You're talking about a team that has still got a lot of deficiencies. and adding another talented piece, whether it's through the transfer portal, which would be, maybe there's a guy out there, or whether it's trying to locate a guy who wants to play college for 1 year and do the same thing that Gigi just did and reclassify, would be pretty big for this program.
Yeah, I don't know what names are still uncommitted. I guess I can go back to that master list on 24/7 Sports that it was very difficult to read and keep up with because there were just thousands of names and dozens of names popping in every single day. But it might be a little, to an extent, too little too late to really grab one meaningful transfer that's going to change the outcome of this season or the expectations of this season. It's too late to grab somebody that you're going to say, wow, now that they've got Gigi and this guy, they got to be a tournament team. It's tournament or bust. We're not going to be there, but yeah, maybe this is the kind of guy that can round out the class. And it is unfortunate because you were in a good spot. You had a good team returning, an experienced team returning. If you had landed Gigi Jackson early in the process, then you could have used him to build around, but that's just, as it stands, it's not going to be able to be possible. So you're happy to have him. But as far as expecting sort of the GG effect or a ripple effect from this commitment, it's not going to be all that much.
It'll be interesting as we get closer. I will say that it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to make this season a lot more interesting. I don't know what it does necessarily for expectations. I would probably caution people to kind of keep them down, keep them low. But certainly getting a guy of this caliber, something that's been a long time coming. It hadn't happened since PJ. When I say caliber, I don't mean the number one player. I just mean of this amount of talent locally. It hadn't happened since PJ Dozier. So we'll kind of continue to see, what Lamont Paris over the next few weeks can put together. They'll start fall camp around early October, and then certainly their schedule has not come out yet. But I would imagine that they'll try and keep it as a light non-conference schedule. You've got the game in D.C. against Georgetown. You've got the Charleston Classic. You've got the Clemson game, which will be at Colonial Life Arena. So there are some quality games. I think they've got a trip to UAB and a game against Western Kentucky as well. I did see somewhere there was a website that has them listed with a game against East Carolina also. So there are some games that are out there, but the full non-conference schedule is not out just yet, and that'll be important for how Lamont Paris wants to play his first year and get his team ready for conference play. But certainly this is a roster still that needs significant upgrades to be able to help a player of the caliber of Gigi Jackson to take some of the pressure off him, because otherwise you're going out there every night, Patrick, against SEC teams who are just as athletic, just as good, and they're going to focus on shutting down Gigi Jackson and making somebody else beat you.
Yeah, they're probably going to be more athletic than South Carolina most of the time, but that's just what it's going to be. I mean, that's why the question of, is it too risky for Gigi Jackson just because he's going to be called out or isolated like that, and teams are going to do everything they can to shut him down? Yeah, I guess so. But we've also seen this time and time again. Maybe it's a little bit different from Ben Simmons or Anthony Edwards, but those are the first two come to mind because they were the two guys that were number one recruits. They were number one picks, and they both played for teams in the Southeastern Conference that didn't make the NCAA tournament. Maybe it's different because they were point guards and had the ball in their hands, but Ben Simmons was not bringing the ball up the court every time for LSU when he was there. He was playing in the post quite a bit for them. Anthony Edwards had the ball in his hand all the time and was able to show how just dazzling he is with his handle and just how skilled he is. So Gigi's not necessarily going to get that opportunity. He's going to rely on someone to get him the ball in favorable positions, but he's still going to have every opportunity to just showcase how dominant and explosive he can be, because the NBA draft is more about potential than what you're going to get right this very second. That's why we see guys that have never played high level college basketball. We see a Shaedon Sharpe go in the top 10. That's why we see these guys that have played very little still go. So from the draft perspective, maybe it's risky, but I think potentially not being the best player on your team, which he could have been the case at UNC, is more dangerous than coming to South Carolina and saying this is going to be hard because they're going to put their best defender on me. They're going to double team me and this and that. Like, when you're that good, you can't be afraid of that. And clearly he's not.
No. And I think, look, the upside to this is if he has a pretty good season, Gigi Jackson will be a local legend. I mean, he will be a guy that is known for kickstarting something here with South Carolina basketball. And so I think the upside there is tremendous. I even if it's the only reason I definitely put G.G. Jackson in the one and done category. The only reason is because of that collective bargaining agreement. He may need one more year. He could conceivably need one more year. It'll be interesting to see him develop against guys. But I know the effort to get into the NBA to beat that collective bargaining agreement could be interesting. Otherwise, you could get him for 2 years, which would be fantastic. Again, it could go a long way to kickstarting Lamont Paris's tenure at the University of South Carolina, and certainly just getting the announcement on Saturday afternoon was fantastic. Kudos to Frank Martin and his staff for putting the ideas into G.G. Jackson's head. Kudos to Lamont Paris for the way he handled everything. A lot of praise all the way around from the former staff to the current staff, and South Carolina fans should be thrilled with the outcome of it all. So we'll continue talking about that. We'll get you some audio from the weekend, some stuff on mental health that I thought was really good from a UFC fight. We'll talk about that as well. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Scott here with Traditions.
Jen, you see that text I just sent you about trying to cut this with the AAA and the sleep number? The 2 AAAs and the 1 sleep number? All right, this will be the 30 for AAA. 30 for AAA. Let's see here. In 3, 2, 1. Those hot summer months of August and September, they're still around. Don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Get AAA Heating and Air out to your house today. Get a maintenance package. Get them to inspect your heating and air unit and make sure everything's working properly. Again, call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Tell them you heard it here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner. All right, let's see here. All right, now you ready for the minute? All right, and here is the all right, and here's the one that'll take a minute. In 3, 2, 1. Due to upcoming government regulations, the current minimum SEER rating for HVAC systems will change. It's time for you to call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Current inventory cannot be sold after December 31st. And as the year 2023 starts, customers can expect to pay an average of 30% more for a new SEER 2 HVAC system. What does this mean for you, the customer? There is no better time to purchase a new HVAC system, and AAA Heating and Air must empty their warehouse to make room for the new systems. No deals will be turned down. With our 15-year warranty and guaranteed financing, AAA Heating and Air have made it possible for anyone to get a new system. Call them today, 803-677-1500. You can enjoy new home comfort as quickly as tomorrow. 803-677-1500. Tell them you heard it here with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game. All right, and we can try and cut the sleep numbers like in between them. No, I meant in between other breaks. Yeah, we ain't gonna be able to cut it now. 7 o'clock on a Monday morning, July the 25th. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen up and rolling. Discussing a little bit of the G.G. Jackson news from the weekend. He will be officially enroll at the University of South Carolina, reclassify, join a year early. So we've been discussing that a little bit this morning. Also from the weekend, the NASCAR race, kind of actually very entertaining. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, who finished 1 and 2, disqualified. Chase Elliott takes home the prize. That is the first time that a Cup race winner whose car failed inspection, or that's the first time that a Cup race winner's car has failed inspection since 2017, and that would be Joey Logano. So kind of crazy right there, but that was interesting from the weekend. The Major League Baseball Hall of Fame inducting 7 new members into the hall over the weekend. And Patrick, I know you said you weren't aware of it. I watched a lot of TV yesterday. I was laid up in bed because I'm a little under the weather. And it was, I didn't watch many of the speeches. I wasn't really into that, but it was fun. They walked out the former Hall of Famers that wanted to come and be a part of the induction ceremony. They also had a great piece on Buck O'Neil, who was named to the Hall of Fame. Was really, really cool. It was Buck O'Neil, Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, Jim Cat, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, and the really cool one was David Ortiz over the weekend as Ortiz stole the show. Matter of fact, his daughter sang the national anthem. But Patrick, was kind of cool just to watch some of it. Again, I'm not going to pretend that I got fully invested in it and stayed glued to the TV for all 3 hours, but kind of neat to watch. I don't know if you've ever gotten into watching, like, the NFL Hall of Fame induction ceremony will be in, 2 weeks? Is that right? A week and a half, right in there? You never is that something that you would have on your kind of sports bucket list, is to go to an induction, no, not at all? I think so. I would guess. I would guess, but yeah, so interesting. I could go do a draft because it seems like a little bit more of
a party from what I've seen. The way they're doing it, it does seem like a little bit more of a party in terms of.
What if you had to sit in the seating area? You couldn't leave.
Oh no, that'd be brutal. Yeah, no, my ADD, I barely sit still doing a radio show.
Yeah,
talking about something where I'm just sitting there waiting on them to announce names. No, that's
because I would go. Yeah, because I would go to a bar. They always have it sort of in a downtown area. Like I know in Nashville they had it on Broadway, so people are in the seating area right there, but they're also just bouncing in and out of bars. So that would be great if you're going just around the area.
Yeah, I'm with you. Where you can walk over and check out a pick or two, and then walk back. Where it's kind of more of the party. I mean, I'm not being funny, and I watched the Mets and the Padres for about 7 innings last night. But it's one of the reasons that I struggle going to a Major League Baseball game or even a South Carolina baseball game because you're just sitting. It's not as fast paced. It's obviously, football, it's constant action. Hockey's constant action. I mean, even soccer is at least constant action, whereas baseball is kind of a slow moving sport. I think it's, relax and have your beverage. And even I'm not good at that. And so I'm with you on not being able to sit and watch induction speeches. Look, I zone out in office meetings when people are telling me important things about rules and regulations. Just sitting there and listening to somebody talk about their career in life definitely is going to be something where I tend to phase out and end up falling asleep. But it was pretty interesting to watch. Again, I kind of enjoyed yesterday just seeing a bunch of the former players, the current Hall of Famers, come out, and guys like Ken Griffey Jr. that popped out yesterday. They had Cal Ripken Jr. come walking out, Goose Gossage, Raleigh Fingers. Some of those guys that are just old school, and it was pretty interesting, a lot of fun to watch. But again, once they got into the actual speeches, I flipped the channel. So that was the other thing from the weekend. If you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. One thing from over the weekend, and I put a tweet out about this. Patrick, I think we both know I'm not a huge UFC fighting fan. Just not really necessarily my cup of tea.
By the way, you
but there was
can't
some
say
audio
UFC fighting.
over the. Oh, really?
Because
Okay,
the F in UFC is
why
for
is that?
fighting. The Ultimate Fighting Championship
For
fighting.
Okay, Ultimate Fighting Championship. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there you go. It just goes to show. I've gotten into a little bit with Conor McGregor back in the past. It takes the very flamboyant personalities, but I think who are some of the people now that are kind of out there? I can't remember. I've kind of read a little bit more, but over the weekend, where I'm going with this, it was a guy, Paddy Pimblett, who had a fight over the weekend. And normally I wouldn't have cared, although I did catch. Did you catch his pre-fight press conference and what he said he was going to do to his?
Yeah, I caught quite a bit of this. Yeah, he said he was going to teabag him.
Yeah, and then went on to explain what exactly teabagging was. We'll let you. We won't go into that path.
And then did it.
If you they did, yeah, and then did it. He won. He actually now. I will actually now go out of my way to watch Paddy Pimblett fight, and some of it is because he does seem like a big character, or a very personable character. One of the things that, as I was reading about him yesterday, he thinks he is more relatable to today's youth because he doesn't have tattoos and he has kind of the shaggy hair. So he actually is mindful, even though he's talking the trash and saying he's going to teabag somebody. He does seem like a person who is mindful of of connecting with youth. This was, to me, if you can understand it, was a very powerful message after his victory on Saturday night, or I believe Friday night, Saturday. Here's what he had to say. He had a buddy pass away because of suicide, and he talks about mental health, guys, and mental health, and it's something that we've talked about on this program before. And here's what he had to say that I hope all men can listen to this morning. Here's what he had to say after his fight.
Little baby Lee, I want to dedicate this fight to little baby Lee, little warrior, like more of a fighter than any of us will ever be. But also, I woke up on Friday morning at 4 a.m. to a message that one of my friends back home had killed himself. This is 5 hours before me weigh-in. So Ricky, lad, that's for you. But there's a stigma in this world that men can't talk. Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and you think the only way you can solve it is by killing yourself, please speak to someone. Speak to anyone. People would rather, I'd rather me mate cry on my shoulder than go to his funeral next week. So please, let's get rid of this stigma and men start talking.
To me, very powerful. Patrick, we've talked about it on this program. Dakota Watson's come on and talked about it. He's got a foundation. It's true. There is a stigma for men that talking signals weakness, and that's just simply not true. And I got to admit, both the message, but I became a huge fan of, they call him Paddy the Baddie, Paddy Pimblett. And I got to admit, I will now be a huge fan of his moving forward, and will actually probably go out of my way to watch his next fight, whomever it's against. He's 19-3, by the way, overall. He's a pretty good fighter too. He's not just a guy that is entertaining. He's actually a pretty good fighter.
Well, he's more famous now. He and the other person that was on that fight card, Molly the Meatball. They're both from Liverpool. Yeah, they're both from Liverpool. They're like legends in Liverpool. Paddy's got a vlog that's really successful on YouTube, and then they recently signed with Barstool. So Barstool's been hyping them up like crazy. So they're whether they're the top fighters in UFC, they're probably two of the biggest names in UFC to just the casual fans now, just because of that bump they've gotten. So yeah, big time stuff. That what Paddy was saying about that, it's definitely changing for the better as younger generations grow up without that stigma attached. So I think people like him in a mainstream opportunity speaking that way is really good. He also mentioned little baby Lee, which was at the very beginning of that, which was a super sad story. That kid's been in the ring with him for a couple of fights, a little 4-year-old kid whose funeral he just went to a couple of weeks ago, that had some just really rare, I could never pronounce it, but some sort of like soft tissue cancer. So very emotional actually night after he won that fight. He's loud character. He's talking about teabagging people and things like that, but also clearly a good guy that cares about people. But he's also known to get fat in between fights. Like you'll see him in 2 weeks and he's going to have a gut. Like he's going to probably pack on 40 pounds, and somehow he's able to do it and start fight camp and then just get jacked with a 6-pack within a couple months before fights. It's wild.
Yeah, Jen's face on the live stream. Yeah, I read a lot about him yesterday after obviously that audio, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm a UFC fan or that I go out of my way to watch it. I will now go out of my way to watch his fights, because again, that message I thought was really powerful, and it is. It's something that men out there, a lot of us deal with stress, and there is that stigma that men cannot talk, or that it shows weakness, and we definitely have to get away from that. We have to, as men, we have to be able to talk to anybody when times are rough, and even when times are good. Goes both ways there. So I thought that was really good. Yeah, Patrick, Paddy the Baddie. We will. I don't know if necessarily, as you mentioned, I think he signed it's a 7-figure deal with Barstool. The dude is about to be in my opinion, is probably about to be the next big thing in UFC, because he does have a personality, and actually I think he connects pretty well with the fan bases.
It is interesting because basically in boxing you can't lose ever to keep your reputation like that, but UFC, it just comes with it, that with the territory, I guess there's more ways to lose. It's not just knockouts, so you can handle losses. But if he ends up, I have no idea. I would have to talk to someone that knows UFC. I don't know if he's like good enough to potentially contend for the belt or something like that, or if he's clearly good because he's 19-3. But is he going to be competing for championship title belts? And who even holds the belt in that weight class? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know the first thing about it. We got to get Brian Edwards on to ask about that, because he's actually sharp with that stuff.
We might see if we can do that this week, because certainly we could talk some college football futures as well. So a lot that we can get to, but a powerful speech there from him, as well as a pretty entertaining fighter. 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. As always, you can go to our live stream, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click subscribe and join, hop in. Craig, Hope, RL, Sonny, all up and at it with us this morning. There's conversation. RL reminding us, yeah, Patrick, did you see the Blue Jays? I don't know what happened with the Red Sox, but the Blue Jays just thumped them over the weekend. I believe it was 28-5 was the final score. So the Red Sox forgot to play baseball one night. I believe that was Friday night when things got completely out of hand. So
we also need to talk about Jeremy Pruitt and his wife paying kids and taking them out to brunch and getting their nails done.
That's a good one. We'll get into that next. We'll get back into some college football. So, getting their nails done. We'll get into some college football stuff as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Monday edition of the Extra Point, we'll be continuing to unpack a few of the storylines from SEC Media Days that we didn't get to last week, and just generally decompressing after a really fun, busy eventful week that was SEC Media Days. Also, I'm recording this on a Friday afternoon after having just seen Nope, new Jordan Peele movie, and I'm probably going to need to talk about that for at least a segment. Wes Mitchell will be with us to talk recruiting and start to look ahead to the football season. It'll be a packed Monday show starting at 9
The
o'clock.
Extra Point,
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5, the game.
Going out and purchasing a new vehicle, maybe a car, a truck, an SUV, it can be stressful. I mean, it's a big part of the family budget. You're going out, you're going to spend a lot of money, and you need a quality vehicle back. But not only that, you need someone who's knowledgeable. You need somebody who's trustworthy. You need somebody who's been in business for over 60 years, taking care of the Midlands because they do it the right way. And at Love Chevrolet, that's exactly what you get. A family-run business that's been running and taking care of the Midlands for over 60 years, and they continue to do it the right way, even in this time of high demand and low supply, when right now people are taking advantage of customers. Love Chevrolet continues to be there doing things the way they've done it for over 60 years. So go visit them, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. The $1,000 low price guarantee means you can shop other dealerships and take their deal back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they'll top it, or they'll write you a check for $1,000. The 14 acres means you're getting the largest selection of Chevrolets anywhere here in the Midlands. But what I always tell you that stands out about Love Chevrolet is the way they treat their customers, the way they take care of you, the way they make you feel comfortable. They answer your questions. They make it a fun experience, because let's be honest, it is stressful, but purchasing a new vehicle, well, it can be a little difficult. So don't wait. Go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. You can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
I-20 eastbound right there at exit 92 or Highway 601. We do still have a report of a tie-up there, but other than that, traffic moving along fairly well this morning. Sun and clouds today, 93 for the high, 92 tomorrow, up to 96 by Wednesday. But right now it's fair, a little bit breezy, 74 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Many of us know about Gil Hodges' success with the Dodgers and his instrumental role managing the 1969 Miracle Mets. Now, yesterday in Cooperstown, his daughter Irene also reminded us how he welcomed Jackie Robinson, how he earned a Purple Heart in the Battle of Okinawa, and how he befriended Japanese children and taught them baseball. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Over the past 30 years, I've had people come up to me, often other lawyers, to tell me what a clever marketing idea it was for Cordell & Cordell to commit to men in divorce. Though intended as a compliment, such statements have always bothered me. For one thing, it's far from clear that a decision that's likely to disaffect half the market is a good business decision. But more troubling is the presumption that Cordell & Cordell's success is largely a result of good marketing. I think if you ask one of our 300-plus attorneys or one of our 100,000-plus former clients, that you'd hear a lot about practice skills, experience, client care, and integrity. These are the much harder things that best account for the growth and reputation over time of any law firm, including Cordell & Cordell. Having said all this, I am proud of our marketing messages, and I do want guys to know that we're here to help them. If we can help you, give us a call.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 1201 Main Street, Suite 840, Columbia, South Carolina, 29201. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Sponsored by News Nation, a News Nation exclusive. Chris Cuomo sits down with Dan Abrams in his first television interview since leaving CNN. The Chris Cuomo exclusive on Dan Abrams Live tomorrow at 9, 8 Central on News Nation. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us to find News Nation on your television provider.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Midstate has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right. We'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today. Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile. 803-630-5929 for more details.
Titus and Tate, a podcast from two obsessed basketball lovers.
Twitter's a place for losers. I think the same thing about podcasting. I think you and I are losers. We podcast. We know we're losers. Most podcasts, you and I are doing it right now, are done over Zoom. I'm not even wearing pants right now. It's like, you're not wearing pants? We're back to where we started, where you're just like kind of sitting in your mom's
we used to wear pants when we did podcasts. We've definitely gone downhill.
More than just analysts and stats. Titus and Tate. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Time now for the old-timey meat market clip of the day. On October 11th, 1994, South Carolina's legendary men's basketball coach Frank McGuire passed away. While not unexpected, this still jolted the Palmetto State and also college basketball lovers around the country. Let's hear how the ultra-talented Bob Shields opened his special tribute that night to Coach McGuire on WLTX TV.
Frank McGuire, a Carolina legend, with WLTX Sports Director Bob Shields.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us as we remember and pay tribute to a legendary coach and a first-class gentleman, USC's Coach Emeritus, Frank McGuire. When McGuire first came to the University of South Carolina in 1964, the Gamecock basketball program was regarded as the doormat of the mighty Atlantic Coast Conference. Just 4 years later, the Gamecocks posted the first 20-win season in school history. In fact, it was the first of 6 consecutive 20-win seasons as Carolina had arrived as a big-time basketball power.
And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market, with 3 locations: Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irmo.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios, this is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
with Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
107.5 The Game.
That's right.
Patrick, I don't feel like how Tennessee did nail treatments on their players. I don't feel like it was similar to how Jen did my nails. I feel like they went a little bit more professional and didn't use the piggy mud. I don't think it was the green lights. Do you think
it lasted just fine?
It lasted fine?
Yeah, it lasted just fine. What difference does the brand make?
I don't. If you haven't seen the story, we don't think Jen is involved. We don't think. I mean, who knows? Maybe they were bringing them down to Columbia, or maybe Jen was flying up there, and handling the nail salon visits. $59,598 in hotel charges, nail salon visits, and brunches that Tennessee used on prospective recruits during the time of Jeremy Pruitt, Patrick. Mm-hmm. The story in this is that basically Tennessee cheated. Didn't do a very good job of cheating, by the way, because Jeremy Pruitt had an awful record. Was basically Tennessee was on the hook for $12.6 million of a buyout, and basically turned Jeremy Pruitt and their athletic department in for cheating so that they could say they fired him with cause and they do not owe him $12.6 million. Not a bad way to get out of it.
No, I feel like Tennessee's going to be completely fine in all this. Not the same athletic director, different coach, different staff, different everything. They're just going to say, hey, here we go. We cooperated. You take care of this guy, this Pruitt guy. He's trouble. I mean, the part that is bad was the visits during COVID. I think there was 9 of them. The money, people have been doing that forever, but the fact that his wife and himself are putting names on their check is just moronic. So they're really just dumb. The McDonald's bags full of cash turned out not to be the case. They weren't even giving out cash. They were just writing checks. And the McDonald's bags were actually full of McGriddles and big breakfasts and McMuffins. And they're Chick-fil-A breakfast and all this stuff. And some of the brunches look really good. Andy Staples on his article on The Athletic, if you subscribe to The Athletic, has hyperlinks to the menus of some of the brunch spots that they went to. Scrambled Jake's is one of them that I think they specialize in just scrambler bowls, which is what I make. That's my specialty for breakfast. Just getting a big, giant pan, putting a dozen eggs in it, a giant thing of hash browns, a whole roll of sausage, bacon, everything. Just throw it all in there and just scramble it up. It's phenomenal. And then the other one is Ruby Sunshine. Have you ever heard of this place?
I haven't.
It's a chain, sort of a chain, I guess. They're in Tennessee. We went to one in Franklin, Tennessee a little while back. It's one of the best breakfasts ever. Their specialty is Benedict's, but they're New Orleans based. So they have like a Bayou Shrimp Benedict and things like that. They are incredible. So that was one of the best breakfasts I've ever had. So if you're ever in the Knoxville area and you want to stop by Ruby Sunshine, it gets 2 thumbs up. So Jeremy Pruitt, probably very dumb what he did, but at least he did it tastefully.
There you go. They were all fed well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was taking them to McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, but for the big ballers that were going to Ruby Sunshine and Scrambled Jake's, it's not IHOP. It's better than IHOP, I'll tell you that much.
Well, yeah, it's the salon was called La La Nails, and apparently, as you mentioned, the staff was footing the bill. I'm still interested to know exactly what players were going to La La Nails. This part I'm wildly intrigued by, but
Hendon Hooker, because his hands are on camera a lot.
I guess maybe so.
But of all the things
Stephen
they could have
weighs
prompted
in,
them
says
to
there's a-
do, like what? Why?
There was also mothers getting checks for there was like a down payment on a car. There was several months of rent. So they were also writing checks to the families. So maybe the kids were getting brunch while the moms were getting their nails done.
I didn't think about that with the moms getting their nails done. That's true. It doesn't have to just be the players. Yeah, and to your point, excuse me, the big picture on this, I'm with you. I think Tennessee will get a slap on the wrist, but this is the new way of the NCAA of doing things, Patrick. They don't want to punish the current coaches, the current players for the sins of the previous staff and the previous players. And in a way, that's admirable. In a way, I cannot kind of understand. Tennessee has basically played this about perfect as it pertains to, all right, we did our own investigation. Yes, we cheated, and we cheated significantly. And we've already slapped ourselves. We fired our coach. We slapped ourselves with a few sanctions. We've punished ourselves. All right, here's what we did. And I think, you look at it with the NCAA's dwindling power that may basically be non-existent within the next 2 or 3 years. It's hard to see the NCAA stepping in and taking away bowl eligibility. Maybe you reduce scholarships some, but I don't see much happening to Tennessee here as they go forward.
I don't know how it could. And also, it was a grand total of $59,000, something like it was just under $60,000. I mean, what Bijan Robinson from Texas is driving a Bentley now, right? That's like, so his NIL gift is more than all of these things that are going to say Tennessee's going to save $12.6 million for $60,000 of benefits when there are probably 100 kids making $60,000 or more, maybe more than 100. There are probably hundreds of kids making $60,000 in college football right now. I mean, the whole Texas Tech team is going to make $25K.
Yeah, it's a totally different world now, and that's going to be another part of it. But you're exactly right when it comes to what's happening at Tennessee and what the NCAA has reported back now, or what Tennessee's reported back, and some of it is funny. The Jeremy Pruitt stuff is just kind of wild because Pruitt. I mean, Patrick, you would agree. This is a guy who literally rode the coattails of Nick Saban into a massive coaching job, and failed quite spectacularly.
Got an extension in the middle of it, though. Somehow.
Hey, got an extension in the middle of it, yeah.
Yep.
So 803-404-6100. Steven hits us up, or a couple people hit us up. Steven and an anonymous texter said there's a Ruby Sunshine in Charleston also. And then Matt weighs in. So if there are current players who took the benefits that are currently on the roster, shouldn't they be punished? They partook in the rule violations. Again, it just feels like the NCAA is going to look at this and say, you guys punished yourself. You did good. All right, let's move on. Everybody move on to the next topic. So we'll continue talking about that. We'll get back into G.G. Jackson as well. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game, streaming 24/7.
1 billion of us own a smartphone, and we know how addicting it can be.
Just go to iTunes or the Google Play Store and download our app.
So you never miss any of your favorite shows.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5
The Game.
The extremely hot months of the summer, they have yet to come. We all know what it's like in August around here, and especially in September. I mean, most of you are already thinking about that Georgia game on September 17th and how hot it's going to be that day. So when you come home from the game, because it's a noon game, you're going to want your air conditioner working properly. If not, you are going to be in a world of hurt. So don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Get them out to your house to maintain your heating and air unit, to inspect it, to make sure everything is working properly. You don't want to be one of those people who comes home after a long day of work, ready to relax and enjoy your air conditioner, only to find out, well, it's gone out. And now you've got real issues. For a low price, AAA Heating and Air can take care of you. Make sure that that heating and air unit is working properly. And if you need a new heating and air unit, don't worry. AAA Heating and Air's got you taken care of there too. They guarantee financing. So even if you've had some issues with your credit lately, don't worry. AAA Heating and Air is there to make sure that you get financing, and then they work with you. A $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. And the best part, a 15-year parts and labor warranty that is transferable, meaning, if you move, hey, the new family comes in, they've still got that warranty as well. So a lot of great reasons to use the family-run business that is AAA Heating and Air. They've taken care of me and my family, the air conditioner here at the Gunner household, working great this summer, all because I got that pre-summer maintenance package. Well, we're past that, but you definitely want the maintenance package now with the month of August and September coming up. 803-677-1500. Call them today. Get them out to your house to work on maintaining your unit. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Earlier accidents have been cleared, so that is great news. No major slowdowns to speak of at this time. 93 for our high today, 92 tomorrow. It's a little bit breezy, though. 74 right now, 107.5 The Game.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get all this behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. To get the best results for our clients, we stay on top of the law and the IRS rules and regulations. It's important to us to get you back on track and in compliance legally without worry for your future. At the Ecton Law Firm, we've handled hundreds of cases for everyday hardworking people like you right here in the Carolinas. Don't face the IRS alone. Know your legal rights. Call me to set up your appointment. The first visit is completely free and confidential. You'll meet with a licensed attorney in person at our office in Irmo, just off I-26. If you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to EctonLawFirm.com. Carolinas, if you have an IRS issue, you need a local attorney. You need me, John Ecton.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust is the right way to clean.
Oh, my ribs are burnt again. Why is there a cowboy in my yard?
Hey, take your tongs and put them back in the holster. Mosey over to Ruby Tuesday for Ruby Q. 5 bold flavors and 3 new brisket entrees.
That is $1 million idea.
Speaking of $1 million, right now at Ruby Tuesday, you can also get a chance at winning $1 million.
Honey, get the kids. We're going to Ruby Tuesday.
No purchase necessary to enter spin to win promotion. See rules at rt.day/spin rules.
It's the Love Chevrolet countdown to Gamecock football.
40 days till kickoff.
Others take full advantage of the market. We remain true to who we are. We never charge above MSRP or take advantage of you with add-ons. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com.
Find new roads.
What once started as a moped dealership in downtown Columbia, known as Cato's Moped Shed, has turned into the Midland's premier landscaping and lawn maintenance equipment provider you now know as Cato's Power Equipment. If you're a commercial landscaper looking to maximize your efficiency or just the master of your own home lawn, Cato's has an option for everyone with brands that include Aaron's, Gravely, Toro, and Steel. Conveniently located in Columbia or online, there isn't a job too big or small that Cato's can't make easier for you and your lawn. Cato's Power Equipment, a proud supporter of Gamecock Athletics.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
And what we are talking about all over the place this morning, a lot of G.G. Jackson talk to start the show. Just got into a little football discussion. Interesting notice of allegations from the NCAA to Tennessee for Jeremy Pruitt, Jeremy Pruitt's wife, essentially his entire staff, just addicted to buying kids breakfast, it sounds, or brunch, it sounds like. And at least they have good taste. Scrambled Jakes, Ruby Sunshine. I will say, I think the Benedict is the 1-1. If you're ranking brunch items, you got to go Benedict's 1-1. I don't even know what else is really in the competition, but probably a Benedict's and a scrambler bowl like Scrambled Jakes has are really my 1-2. So I would have probably committed to Tennessee if I was a kid during that was a senior during COVID, taking impermissible visits.
Well, not only that, but like you said, during COVID, they were hosting paying for unofficial visits during COVID. And I don't know if Patrick, I don't know if we all remember talking about this, but like during the down period, during kind of the COVID dead period, Tennessee was racking up commitments left and right.
Yeah.
Like if you remember that, like Tennessee was firing on all cylinders, and everybody's like, "Oh, they're just really good at the Zoom meetings. They know how to sell people on the Zoom meetings." Yeah, that was part of it, but they that
was crazy. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Hey, come to our campus.
They had the #1 recruiting class just because of they had 1 million commitments before anybody else had any, right?
Right. Yeah. Go back during that time, and Tennessee was racking up commitments left and right, and everybody was just like, "Oh, they're really good on the Zoom meetings. They know exactly what to do and how to do it." And it turns out that nobody else could visit anywhere, so they were getting people on campus, and lo and behold, giving them free brunches and nails. I don't know what all they were doing because I guess everything was supposed to still be shut down, but no wonder they were having people on campus and being able to convince them to go ahead and commit to the University of Tennessee.
Wait, so I'm actually picturing this now because this was like legit 2020. When we say COVID, we mean like in the middle of COVID in 2020. Are they at Ruby Sunshine? So they're at like socially distanced tables. How many kids are there together with Jeremy? I'm just picturing like these restaurants that normally have 100 tables now have like 30 tables out there, and everyone, it's just very clear. There's no way to hide in the corner or anything because everyone's all spaced out and you're just staring at Jeremy Pruitt eating with a kid. Or maybe they could only pick up carry out, so they're just eating in Jeremy Pruitt's car or something like that, eating eggs Benedict in Jeremy Pruitt's car. I'm just curious how this went logistically because it seems like it was not planned out very well.
Well, it was not executed well. It was planned out well. There's a difference. The best. They put their names on checks, awry or whatever the saying is. That's what I'm saying. The plan was there. The execution was poor. You're exactly there's your point. The execution was exceptionally poor as it pertains to writing your name on checks and to basically doing all that. That's where things can go sideways on you. And that's clearly where they allowed things to go sideways. But the bottom line is that Tennessee will probably get out of this scot-free or likely scot-free, and that we'll just move on because I don't what is officially cheating now? What is officially cheating in college football?
I think a coach paying a kid directly. I mean, that would still be cheating, right? Technically.
Yes. That is still. But I mean, coaches don't have to do that anymore. I mean, there's zero reason that would be the epitome of stupid if a coach is giving a kid, a car or whatever. I mean, yeah, all you do is you go to your local car dealership and go, hey, if so and so signs with us, you're going to endorse. He's going to endorse you, and you're going to give him a car, truck, or whatever, right? Yeah, okay, all right, there you go. I mean, for a coach to physically give a kid money now is the dumbest thing that would ever, like, that coach should be removed from general population, because it's so easy to cheat, to do this now, right? It's the easiest thing in the world. But so it'll be interesting to see. And again, Tennessee probably gets out of this, in my opinion, scot-free, because of what we just said. Everything that you're being nailed for, well, it's pretty legal now. It's
Well, yeah, but the one thing, I mean, it did seem like everyone actually did take the no visits during the height of coronavirus. I think everyone actually did take that part of it seriously, except for Jeremy Pruitt.
Well, and
Herm
Edwards in Arizona State.
Yeah.
Herm Edwards and Herm Edwards. That's those are the two, and that's why they're kind of the pariahs right now. 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. So we'll get back into that GG Jackson talk as well. Our thoughts on that. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Game time with Heath Klein, 3 to 6 p.m. on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Taking a look at the traffic conditions out there this morning. Good news. Things seem to be all clear right now. So we hope it stays that way for you the rest of the morning. Sun and clouds today, 93 for the high. A few clouds tomorrow, 92. We get up to 96 by Wednesday, 74 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by News Nation, a News Nation exclusive. Chris Cuomo sits down with Dan Abrams in his first television interview since leaving CNN. The Chris Cuomo exclusive on Dan Abrams Live tomorrow at 9, 8 Central on News Nation. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us to find News Nation on your television provider.
Life matters. Thomas Mitchell was one of the truly great talents of Hollywood. He was a vital cast member in such films as Gone with the Wind, It's a Wonderful Life, Stagecoach, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and The Keys of the Kingdom. Mitchell was the first person to win the Triple Crown of acting awards, an Oscar, an Emmy, and a Tony. And he has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What I remember Mitchell best for was a story about finding W.C. Fields flipping through a Bible. When Mitchell asked his friend what he was doing, Fields replied, "I'm looking for loopholes." Sounds like a lot of us, doesn't it? We look for loopholes when instead we should look to the Bible for help. Jesus has promised within its pages, "Whoever comes to me will never, ever be turned away." This is Pastor Stephen Chitty from Christian Life. Remember, life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
In today's digitally driven world, the internet has become more than just a convenience or a luxury. Among other things, it keeps family members connected with loved ones, workers connected with their jobs, and students connected with their instructors and lessons. That's why the U.S. government created the Affordable Connectivity Program, also known as the ACP. This program provides eligible low-income families with discounts of up to $30 a month to help pay for their internet service. And here at FTC, We're proud to participate in this important program. FTC urges all eligible households to take advantage of this helpful program. To learn more about the ACP and to see if you qualify, visit acpbenefit.org. Potential applicants can also get more information by calling the ACP helpline at 877-384-2575. That's acpbenefit.org or call 877-384-2575.
If you work with one of South Carolina's 5,700 manufacturing companies, you're part of something really cool. Hey, this thing is cool. Even this HR guy is cool, but he needs help updating his employee training programs. We can help you with that. At SCMEP, we know that manufacturing is complex, and that if one part gets out of step, everything stops. Definitely not cool. We have the resources to help your operations thrive. Now that's cool. Visit scmep.org.
Sponsored by SCMEP.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
.646, wrapping up hour number 2 here on the Early Game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perret, Jen Jensen with you. A lot of conversation this morning, a lot to talk about. I think we've gone 3 different sports so far. A little college football, talked a lot about Jeremy Pruitt and that notice of allegations for his wife, Tennessee football, a lot of his assistants, a lot of people getting paid, a lot of free brunches, a lot of visits to the nail salon, $60,000 in benefits. But new administration there, new head coach. Don't believe that they're going to be punished at all for this. We've also talked about G.G. Jackson, of course, making his commitment on Saturday to the Gamecocks. We've known this was coming for a couple weeks, it feels like, sort of as soon as the rumors started. I think that was maybe a month or 2 back. Those rumors began to circulate, and once G.G. Jackson decommitted from North Carolina, all of the crystal balls from the recruiting people, they started to come in favor of South Carolina. Frank Martin, as Bill said a couple times, deserves a lot of credit for getting this process started. But you got to give Lamont Paris credit for closing the deal. And did luck play a role in this? Yes, to an extent. You're lucky that the NBA CBA is changing in the way that it was. I know Gigi was considering reclassifying earlier. We talked about this as far back as a year ago, that he was going to consider reclassifying to this class, and initially had decided against it, wanted to finish his career at Ridgeview. Maybe that had something to do with the situation in South Carolina, but after Frank Martin got fired, he made the decision that he was going to stay at Ridgeview and then ultimately go to North Carolina in the class of 2023 and change his mind. So what does that mean for Lamont Paris and the Gamecocks? There's still another spot to give out. I look at the list of top basketball transfers right now, and I see looks like PJ Horn from Georgia is a 3-star, but he's a power forward. You don't really need that. I'm just looking through names randomly. I have no idea if South Carolina is interested in them. Casey Simmons, a shooting guard from Northwestern, is in the transfer portal. Derek Carter Hollinger Jr. from Montana, it looks like, is in the transfer portal. So, I mean, there's guys out there. There's no 4-stars or anything like that. The best players right now, they're committed to school. So you're not gonna get a real game changer, I don't think, in this class. But that doesn't mean that you can't get someone in high school that might be a good player. There's still, I don't know. There's not many choices left at this point. So the GG bump that you might have gotten from his commitment like a year ago before everybody was committed and other guys popping in the transfer portal, maybe you could have gotten someone to come play with him. But at this point, it looks like that's not going to happen. So that's big news. We'll talk about that as we go. 803-404-6100. What are your expectations for him? We talked some NASCAR, a lot of drama with Denny Hamlin. I don't know what's going to happen there. I assume, Jen, you assume they're going to appeal this? They have till noon to appeal it, I saw.
Yeah, they do have an opportunity to appeal it, and they'll just have to see. But it'll all get resolved this week. They don't let that stuff go on for very long. So, but it'll be curious. And again, it's interesting when two people, similar teams, have
Yeah.
the exact same issues. Like,
It would
yeah.
also be funny if Denny Hamlin won the race, then Chase Elliott won the race, and then Denny Hamlin re-won the race.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know
Mhm.
how many times someone's led 0 laps of a race and then won the race. But
Yeah, that's
still
something to
interesting.
be said for that. Yeah.
It was a very notable night between the Ross Chastain deal and this, and I actually I did not know. I thought every time somebody thought that they were cut off or got wrecked or whatever, they were just always upset. Is Ross Chastain just like a really cool customer? Because the way he handled that was awesome.
Well, that's because he has kind of done that. Like Denny has.
But even so, would Kyle Busch have done that if he wrecked somebody and then they wrecked him? Would he have been
No.
like, yeah, I deserved that?
Not in many. He might on occasion, but the chances are pretty low. I think right now Chastain knows that he's angered a few people because he's kind of done that. He's been an aggressive driver this year, and he has done exceptionally well. But I think he's figured it out. He's a young driver, so I think
Hamlin and Kyle Busch are like hated pretty much, right? There's a lot of boos for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch is obviously a villain. Is Ross Chastain? Do people not like him because he's wrecking people, or is he just sort of unapologetically aggressive and he'll be aggressive, but also like if you need to get one back because he was aggressive towards you, he'll understand.
I'm not sure how that's all going to play out. But I mean, I think a lot of people have been a little bit frustrated with him, but they kind of like that. Okay, he's mixing it up and whatever. But I do think that yeah, you can't just punt somebody out of the way. Like there's more finesse to driving than that. So but I think if he learns and figures out, how to play the game, be smart about it, I think people like him.
You get wrecked a couple times, I would think you figure it out. You don't like that very much.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Live and let learn.
But he seems to be, a likable guy, and it's been fun to this whole season has been a lot of fun to watch as far as how everybody's just the opportunities for younger drivers to, be leading and things like that, because there's just not as much division in, they all kind of have the same equipment that they're starting out with. So it's been fun to see different drivers kind of come to the top.
So Bill, the same board that's going to be hearing Reggie's case for his picks is going to be hearing your case for why Denny Hamlin should get full points for you.
You're right. Exactly.
I think the question is, Jen, when did Reggie send in his pick this week?
Oh, he sent it early. It was one time. It was like Thursday night or something. Yeah. So I think we just had one glitch. I'm definitely keeping an eye on it, but I did go back.
Okay. All right.
Yep. So I think so far that's okay.
You should always keep an eye on Reggie Anderson. I totally. Okay. Yeah.
But
all right. Yeah. The same board. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. I think it's pretty clear that I should get all the points. But yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out by Thursday when Kerry Tharp comes back around.
I've already texted with him this
segment.
morning
So
about all that.
Get into that and kind of go.
Yeah.
And he's in agreement. He's in a full agreement.
Then
I get all the points. I'm glad we worked that out. All right.
Nope.
Full agreement there.
Not even close.
I know you said it. I already heard it. That's how it works. 803-404-6100. How you can be a part of the program. Ask you two real quick this weekend. Wasn't a great sports weekend. Patrick, you're a Netflix guy. You'll get into some documentaries and stuff. Have you seen the new documentary on Netflix, the DB Cooper documentary? Are you familiar with DB Cooper? Have you seen all this?
I watched the trailer for it last week. It's called like Where Are You, DB Cooper, or something like that. It is a fascinating story. The guy that hijacked the plane and got paid out and then jumped out over Washington or something like that, and nobody's ever found him.
Jen, are you familiar with this story? Have you heard of DB Cooper? Are you familiar with this?
I am not familiar at all.
It is actually it's from 1971. It's actually a very fascinating story of a guy who hijacked a plane that was going from I believe it was Portland to Seattle. It's either Seattle to Portland or Portland to Seattle. I watched the first part. I've heard of this. You ought to look it up. It's really a fascinating story. Gets on, passes the little girl, the stewardess a note, says he has a bomb on the plane and that he demands $200,000, which in 1971 is the equivalent of $1 million today. He basically then kind of organizes everything. He asked for 4 parachutes. He asked for 4 parachutes and $200,000. They fly. I forget where exactly they fly to. He actually allows all of the passengers off. As a matter of fact, to show you how smooth he wasn't doing this, and I only watched the first one, and I'll continue to watch this series this week. As the passengers get off the plane, wherever they're at, they don't even realize that they've been hijacked. They're getting off the plane, and news cameras and everybody's there, and they're like, "Oh, so you guys were hijacked? What was going on?" And everybody's going like, "We didn't know we were hijacked. We just thought that there was mechanical issues, and we had to circle the airport for 2.5 hours." And so like nobody on the plane knew they were actually hijacked. And he ends up, then he takes off with the crew, and he basically tells the stewardess to go into the cockpit and not come out. And he jumps out the back of the plane, is when I guess planes had in the rear the stairs that went down. He opens that up, jumps off the back of the plane, has never been found since.
How weird.
Good stuff. We'll continue because it is that kind of time where television shows might not be a bad idea this week, because it's going to be a bit of a slow week. So we'll get more into that. I heard Pearson Fowler talking about it in his promo, the movie Nope. So I might get Patrick's take on that as well. We'll get it all figured out. One more hour to go. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, East Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
You think about a 2-second delay?
Might be more than that.
Yeah, it was like
long.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can reset it again. I don't know why up here I'm sitting above where I normally sit.
Rams credit cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Rams software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ram add up to 3.3% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ram could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ram for just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Dang.
Hey, Gamecock fans, Scott here, making
sure you're current on all the newly arriving Gamecock gear. Shop online at GamecockTraditions.com and we'll ship it to you, or you can pick it up at the store with our site-to-store feature. At GamecockTraditions.com, sign up for our emails where we notify you of new arrivals and restock alerts. Are you social? So are we on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Send us questions or give us suggestions. We love hearing from you. And of course, we also love seeing each of you at 5134 Sunset Boulevard or at our new location at Sandhills by the Fountain. Gamecock Traditions, your Gamecock headquarters.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
But we have a horse costume that we get in. I need somebody for the rear end. How about it, Bill? Come on over.
He's the rear end of the show every morning.
Patrick Perez.
There's a 0% chance that I will have a full wedding.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for your.
There's a 0% chance that will happen.
The future Mrs. Perrette to put her foot down and
she can try. My feet are bigger. Guaranteed.
And Jen Jensen.
William Byron referring to Joey Logano, Jen, as a moron and an idiot.
Yeah, standard.
Vocabulary straight out of the Jen Jensen playbook right there when not happy with how something ends.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
$8:01 on a Monday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. Talking a little DB Cooper there in the previous segment. Patrick, were you familiar with this this saga until you saw the thing on Netflix?
Yeah, I knew that there was some plane hijacker that's never been caught. I don't know anything about the actual Netflix series. I guess is there a prime suspect now that people believe it was?
There's one guy in particular who I haven't watched the whole documentary and I've only kind of followed it from time to time, but there's one particular guy, I guess, down in San Diego that they're confident that it's him. I'll continue. I'll watch more of it today and kind of see what happens. Chuck weighs in on our live stream and says the terminal list, and then gives a couple other ones, outer range, that they've apparently really gotten into. It is that kind of week, right, Patrick? That if you're going to do most of your television, about the next 2 weeks, if you're going to do your binge watching, because after that we get into some preseason football, and then before you know it, it is college football season. This is binge watch season right here, right?
It is. I mean, when you say binge, you really, really have got to binge. You got 40 days till South Carolina football, and you've got, I guess, 33 days until college football in general. If you're going to get something done, you need to move. You need to move quick, because if you're going to pick a 5-season series or something like that, you're going to be committing to quite a bit. But this is where you knock out any mini series or 1 or 2 season series that you want to get going. I want to get into Yellowstone, but I just don't know. I think that might be too big of an ask at this point to watch all of Yellowstone and 1883 before football season. I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah. So if you've got a show you want to weigh in on that needs to be binge watched, we will get to that this morning. But right now, the important news of the weekend was G.G. Jackson reclassifying and making his intentions known that he will indeed attend the University of South Carolina. Obviously, a massive pickup for Lamont Paris and his program. It will bring, Patrick, you pointed this out, it will bring some national attention. I don't know because I haven't seen it, so I'm assuming that the full national schedule is not out yet in terms of games, but in terms of televised games. But I would assume that the good thing is this will get you a few more games on primetime networks, a chance for people to see G.G. Jackson and what he's capable of doing. The question now becomes, what does Lamont Paris and his staff do with that final scholarship? And quite honestly, for this team to have a chance, for this team to be competitive this year, they're going to still need to add another big piece to the puzzle there to continue to upgrade this roster.
Yeah, and I looked through the list of guys that are in the portal right now, and it's just not many. And obviously, I mean, hard pressed to find a high school kid not committed at this point. Who's even out there? Have you seen any names floated out there as potentials or people that have been on campus?
No. Lamont Paris and his staff keep things pretty close to the vest. They don't really kind of share recruiting information right now. So there very well could be some people out there that they've been kind of in discussion with. I guess some of it could also have to do with, let's say that there's another 2022, let's say a 2023 recruit that's interested in reclassifying, that has all his work done and maybe wants to jump in the boat as well. There are different avenues. I don't know what is legitimate and what is not, but certainly it is a situation like, you look at it, the 2023 class, according to 24/7 Sports, I'm looking to see when they updated this. The 2023 class now, DeJuan Wagner is the number one player in the class of 2023. According to 24/7 Sports, Gigi Jackson is number 2. Just looking, there are a few other guys that are out there that maybe could want to reclassify and jump in the boat. Isaiah Collier is a point guard out of Marietta Wheeler High School in Marietta, Georgia. Again, this is all speculation here as to what actually is possible for a guy like that, and being able to reclassify. Maybe, you're looking at a few other guys here or there. It is very late in the process, and it's hard for me to envision them being able to do something significant with that final scholarship. I'll also say this, in my opinion, Patrick, you use that final scholarship on somebody can help you, or you're getting a 1-year guy and you're opening it up to be able to use next year on the recruiting trail. You're not using it, to me, you're not using it on a guy who has been around or is going to offer you 2-3 years of service. I think you go after the best available player, or you really actually hold it in order to be able to use it in the next recruiting cycle.
Yeah, I mean, you can just give it to a walk-on who's a senior, right? If you really need to. Just make a nice little video for Twitter of Lamont Paris saying so-and-so has been a great practice player for us for years, shows up with a smile on his face every day. So guess what? You're on scholarship, buddy. Yeah, make a nice video out of it. Do something with it. Don't let it go to waste, but don't commit yourself to 4 years of a player that you might not otherwise want.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because, again, this roster, I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be entertaining. I think it gives people a lot more of a reason to watch now and to really follow this coming season. But it doesn't necessarily change my expectations for what this team is. I still don't think that they're an NCAA tournament team. I think that still this is going to be a team that's going to have to find ways to score. Gigi is certainly has the chance to be a mega talented player, but that jump that he's going to attempt to make is a significant one, especially in a conference like the SEC where there are a lot of great athletes. And so it'll be interesting. Again, the best part is now I think it really gives you a reason to tune in each and every game and see what he's capable of. And a couple of you are asking Hot Sauce Ross, asking, is Gigi a one and done? That's the plan. That is the plan, Patrick. But again, there are some things that have been pointed out in a couple different scouting reports over the weekend that he does have to improve upon during his freshman year to secure being a very high draft pick next year. Next year's draft, by the way, is shaping up to be extremely strong. That's another part to this. Next year's draft, NBA draft, is shaping up to be extremely strong. And right now, the general feeling, because of people jumping in to avoid that CBA, the 2024 draft actually is looking pretty weak, which is pretty entertaining to go back and forth and hear what's being said.
Yeah, I mean, it'll all play out, but just because Gigi, and I saw some people saying that he's not ready right now to go play in the NBA or be a one and done. It doesn't matter what he is right now. All that matters is that NBA scouts watch him play and say, we believe that in a couple years' time, building strength, whatever, working with us day to day, he can be one of the best players in the NBA. All that matters is upside at this point, because Ben Simmons did not do all that much in college. I mean, I felt like his presence was always felt, and he was shooting like 50% from the field, but he wasn't filling up the stat sheet. Anthony Edwards was all numbers. I mean, he was putting up huge numbers day in and day out. But all that matters is that they think that the upside is there. There's guys that are drafted in the number one overall all the time that don't have much to them. Marvin Bagley was a I guess, a case of someone who had a ton of upside, didn't do all that much in college, but when you're big and can handle it and shoot, like that's just what's going to happen. So if Gigi can, I wouldn't put any numbers beside what he needs to do. If he scores double-digit points a game, but his presence is felt all the time, and he's athletic and doing all the things that you expect him to do, I mean, he's going to be a very high pick. And in normal years, the kids might weigh, look, I can be a late lottery pick this year or the number 1 pick next year. I'll make more money next year, so I'll just stay in college, tighten up my game, and go try and be a higher pick next year. That's not going to happen this year, though, because the new CBA, it doesn't matter. The new CBA, the number 1 pick in 2024 could very well get paid as much as the number 16 pick in the 2023 draft. So you just never know what that's going to look like, and it might kind of make his decision for him if he's on the fringes.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, but certainly a big pickup for South Carolina over the weekend. And again, a lot of credit goes to Frank Martin's staff for getting the ball rolling on this. They were able to sell Gigi Jackson on the vision of being a hometown superstar and being a player that could come in and really kind of build his own reputation. And that's certainly a huge opportunity for him. And I think they opened the door for South Carolina to have a big chance with Gigi Jackson. He even mentioned so over the weekend, referring to Frank Martin as his guy. And then obviously big kudos to Lamont Paris for kind of playing this out. I know John Whittle reported over the weekend that it was Gigi Jackson's camp that reached out to South Carolina in May. Basketball recruiting is weird, Patrick, because the majority of the time when a kid commits to another school, as dirty as basketball recruiting is, teams generally stop recruiting that person, if that makes sense. It's for, like football, a kid commits somewhere, it's still open season on that kid. In basketball, when a kid commits, everybody kind of backs off. It's like, all right, he's made his decision, we'll let him go.
Do you think that's because they're spread too thin? Because football, you're recruiting so many kids at once, and in basketball, you recruit your handful of kids and you pay much closer attention to them all the time?
I guess maybe. I've never really gotten an answer for that as to why in basketball, generally when a kid commits, other coaches are like, all right, well, that's it. We gave it our best effort and didn't get it. Whereas in football, you're like, yeah, all right, he's committed, but I think we can still flip him. We still got him. So, but obviously, again, Lamont Paris deserves credit there too for having gone in and met with Gigi and his family early on, and then being able to kind of build that relationship so that when Gigi and his family wanted to look around, South Carolina was a viable option. So I think you give a lot of credit there to Lamont Paris and to Frank Martin for how they were able to handle this. Again, Martin for building that relationship, showing Gigi what he could be at the University of South Carolina, Lamont Paris for getting in there and certainly maintaining that relationship and then having those scholarships available. 803-404-6100. We'll get into a little bit of expectations for that. Get back into some of y'all are weighing in on some different shows that you've been watching. Josh has got Get Through Yellowstone. Chuck saying 1883, only one season, I believe only 10 episodes. Awesome. And the prequel. Hot Sauce Ross weighing in and saying, I get a little depressed when I remember that I finished Stranger Things. And yeah, I don't think we have another Stranger Things out until 2024, Patrick. So we will get to that. Some of you weighing in on the text line as well. Cheney asking, and you are a movie guy, have you never seen the movie Without a Paddle?
I saw it when I was in middle school or something like that. That's Seth Meyers and Dax Shepard, I think. And it's older. It's maybe 20 years old or something like that. I couldn't tell you much about it. I know that like their friend died or something like that, so they go to spread his ashes or something along those lines. I would need to watch it again.
There you go. Okay, so yeah, very, very little there from Patrick. And then Matt in West Columbia telling us to watch The Old Man. I have seen the previews for that. It looks pretty good on FX. So a couple of you weighing in there as we hit kind of the quiet time here, the calm before the storm, so to speak, before football really gets going. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And looking out on the highways and things still moving along fairly well. Earlier accidents have been cleared, so no major slowdowns to speak of. And your forecast for today looking pretty good. A high of 93, 92 tomorrow, up to 96 for Wednesday. It's a little bit breezy now, and 75 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Ben Roethlisberger claims pro football has changed from a team-first to a me-first game. Today's players, he says, are coddled early on because college coaches need them to win, adding that neither his college coach nor Bill Cowher ever coddled him. What's Big Ben implying about Mike Tomlin? I'm Boomer Esiason.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching a kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Sponsored by News Nation, a News Nation exclusive. Chris Cuomo sits down with Dan Abrams in his first television interview since leaving CNN. The Chris Cuomo exclusive on Dan Abrams Live tomorrow at 9, 8 Central on News Nation. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us to find News Nation on your television provider.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. It looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year you won't go back to school. You'll be ready to move forward and master 5th grade math.
I can't do this. It's impossible.
Not you, Dad, your daughter. Staples will help her move forward.
Right.
Right now, Staples comp books and number 2 pencils are just 50 cents each. Plus, 2 pocket paper folders are only 25 cents each. Everything on your list at amazing prices. Staples, we're not going back. We're going forward to school. Ends 8/27 in store only, limit 30.
If you have IRS tax problems, it can seem like a vicious cycle that never ends, year after year. Just getting the mail can be stressful and overwhelming. Don't let it ruin your life. There is a solution. Since 2008, the attorneys at Ecton Law Firm have devoted their practice to the resolution of tax problems for individuals and businesses across the Carolinas. We have the knowledge and experience and are dedicated to the success of each client. We are local attorneys with local solutions. At the free initial consultation, we'll listen to your concerns, your goals, and explain the systematic process we use in solving your tax problem. From that initial meeting, you'll see there is a solution. We're dedicated to improving your life by solving your tax problems. If we sound like someone you want to work with, take that first step. Give us a call at 803-771-9800 or go to ectonlawfirm.com. You'll be glad you did.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention, like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you.
Paid for by NHTSA.
DQ presents Picture This. Picture yourself at DQ on Thursday, July 28th for Miracle Treat Day. You roll up to order a Blizzard with your friends and family like you have so many times before. But on this day, every flavor comes with a much-needed dose of hope. For every Blizzard you buy at participating locations, $1 or more will be donated to Children's Miracle Network hospitals for your local children's hospital, making Miracle Treat Day the most satisfying way to give hope to kids in your community. Thursday, July 28th at DQ.
It's the Love Chevrolet countdown to Gamecock football.
48 till kickoff.
Others take full advantage of the market. We remain true to who we are. We never charge above MSRP or take advantage of you with add-ons. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
The early game, 1075
The game.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can be a part of the program this morning. And, you know, we talk about the GG Jackson news, obviously very big for Lamont Paris and for South Carolina. This is something that you certainly you've got to be excited about. You've got to be thrilled that Lamont Paris is able to go out and get Jackson to join the fold. But now, Patrick, I think the attention kind of changes to, all right, what becomes fair? Because that's the key word, fair expectations for the 2022-2023 season. I think it's unfair, personally, to start saying, okay, South Carolina's an NCAA tournament team. I'm not sure they're even an NIT team. I think that you still take into account what this team is with the rest of the roster. And I think you talk about, all right, what can Lamont Paris do in year one to showcase how he was able to improve GG Jackson and then sell the fact that one of the top two players in the country in Jackson came to your university and you were able to produce him into a high draft pick. That, I think, is the fair expectation. I don't put a whole lot of stock in that this changes South Carolina so much that they become an NCAA tournament team. I would still be very shocked if this team is able to make the postseason.
Yeah, I would be stunned. But when you're not going to be a postseason team, how can you do what you just said? Show other recruits in the area that South Carolina is a place that you can come. So it's almost gets to the point where you say, what's a success for the season for GG Jackson is he's the number one pick in the NBA draft. That's almost where we're at. Or a top 5 pick, because then that proves
top 5.
Yeah. Then that proves that a kid can come from Columbia and go top 5 in the NBA draft through the University of South Carolina. And that's pretty much the only thing that you can pitch at this point if it's not going to be dictated by results on the court.
Well, you know, I think Lamont's got to have a full year to do recruiting. You know, I think that he's got the ability to build the roster. I think that's going to be part of it. So you look at a guy like a Cam Scott in the 2024 class, you hope what you hope is that at that point the roster has been upgraded where Cam Scott then goes, oh, okay, well, number one, that roster is just missing me from doing something really big. And two, oh, okay, I saw what they did with GG and how they promoted him. And look, name, image, likeness is going to play a small role in this. You know, all right, what exactly is GG Jackson about to get in name, image, likeness? It's a golden opportunity for Lamont Paris and the university to show, hey, we can take care of homegrown kids. That's what, to me, this is about. I wins and losses. I'm not real sure. Ferrari on our live stream says Jackson made them a 12 to 15 win team instead of 8 to 10 wins. Still not good enough to even make the NIT. I do want to look. I don't want to sell this team out too soon, but I do know that, you know, there's still a long way to go with this roster. And I look at the SEC, which I think is going to be improved again this year. I think it's going to be extremely different and difficult in conference, but it is a golden opportunity to springboard the program by showing what you can do with name, image, likeness, how a player can come to the University of South Carolina and still be promoted and be loved, and also be a top 5 or even a top 10 draft pick. You can accomplish all the goals you want by coming to the University of South Carolina, and players in the future could then look at it and go, okay, that roster is better. I can go in there and be the missing piece to really take them much further.
They're also going to have to somehow get fans in that arena, because that's what kids are going to care about. That they don't want to. A kid's not going to go to Cameron Indoor and then come to the Colonial Life Arena with 2,500 people there for a 7:00 game and be like, oh, I can go to the NBA, but this is not the environment I want to play in front of. Like that. it's going to have to come with that too. There's going to have to be buy-in across the board, which is going to be hard to do if the team's not very good for fans to be filling up the arena like they do for women's games.
I do wonder what attendance will be. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are absolute diehards. They're going to go regardless, and I get that. I wonder what the initial bump will be. I would assume early on. We always know that the November and December crowds can be very small. I do wonder what the initial bump, because there's going to be a fascination to see both Lamont Paris, the new coach, but also to see Gigi Jackson. And so, Patrick, I'm with you now. It does get into, obviously, if they start winning, if they are hot early on and they're winning, January and February, that place is going to be packed and it's going to be rocking. But if you lose a couple games early on in November and December, are people still going to be fully invested to go in? I'm with you on the crowd. That's going to be very interesting. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. 803-404-6100. Alex is on the phone. Wants to talk about Gigi Jackson, whether this is a tournament team. Alex, how you doing this morning?
Good. How you guys doing? I heard you say that you didn't think they could even be an NIT, or you'd be surprised if they're an NIT team, and I kind of disagree. I think that's a minimum, because I mean you just added the best player. I mean, you talked about they need another year of recruiting. Well, you're not going to recruit much better than him. So in basketball, you need one or two good players to get your team, turned around quickly. So I'd be disappointed if they didn't make the tournament, and I think NIT is kind of a minimum.
Well, the problem with that is most teams, when you add a player of this caliber, the rest of the roster is able to really help them and build around them. And I think that's the concern that you've got, or for the team, for the expectations, is that you're right about one player, but like you talk about guys in the back. Anthony Edwards was the number one pick in the draft, Alex. He was the number one pick in the draft, but you saw the rest of his roster, and obviously it wasn't enough to even get them to the NIT. Patrick,
they went 16 and 16. Yeah, they went 16 and 16, and I'm looking at this team, the Ben Simmons team, and I mean Antonio Blakeney was a huge big time recruit. Tim Quarterman was really good for LSU for a long time. Craig Victor was a 3-point shooter. They had an actually good team. They were ranked preseason number 21 in the country. Ended up getting an NIT invite that they declined. So. Just because you have Gigi Jackson doesn't mean that that's going to be the case. You might not have another starter that would be good enough to start most teams around the conference besides Gigi.
Thank you for the phone call, Alex. Yeah, I'm not trying to look. I think you should be excited. I think you should be fired up about it. I'm not trying to sell. But also, Patrick, you've seen it. There is a level of tempering expectations, because if they struggle this year, it's not an indictment on Lamont Paris. People shouldn't be like firing me like, well, this guy can't coach just because this roster. And that's the thing I'm almost most fearful about is that Lamont this team still struggles, and that all of a sudden people are going, oh, this Paris guy, he can't coach. That's not true. That's not going to be true. You're going to have to give Lamont Paris plenty of time to prove it. This is a great thing for South Carolina. It's a great thing in terms of recognition and the opportunity to play some games that will be televised nationally. But I think in terms of overall team expectations, you've got to be careful about saying, and Alex, again, thank you for the phone call, but about going that far to say, oh no, now it's a tournament team. And I hope I'm wrong. Look, I have a suite down there at the arena. I hope like crazy they're winning games and it's fun to go to. But I think you got to look at it and be a little realistic that there's a lot that has to happen here for this team to really be that successful as an NCAA tournament team here in 2022, 2023. Matthew is on the Love Chevy phone lines this morning. Matthew, how you doing this morning?
Man, I'm great this morning, enjoying the program and this discussion, man. I appreciate you taking my phone call. I do have a little bit of, connections with a lot of the high school basketball coaches here because of my profession. And I'll tell you, without Gigi, they don't even think that we could compete for mid-major. And so adding Gigi is awesome. But you can't take a team that's maybe a mid-major team and add the number one player and expect them to even make the NIT. I think you're right. We definitely need to temper our expectations and be glad that we got him.
Appreciate the phone call, Matthew. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. You be excited, be thrilled, go to games. And Patrick, but I think that's what Matthew's saying is fair. Now, who knows? Maybe they surprise us all, and this turns into a team that gels and everything happens, and then you can get really excited. I'm more fearful that people have unrealistic expectations, and that what ends up happening here is they turn on Lamont Paris after 1 year, because it is going to be difficult. That roster, they might be a bunch of great kids, and they might play really hard, but there's some areas they were lacking in. There were some areas they were significantly lacking in prior to the addition of G.G. Jackson. He'll cover up some of it. I don't know if it's enough to get you to 22 wins.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, Greg just comments, too bad Frank couldn't add Gigi to a roster with Couisnard Stevenson. I mean, it's too bad Lamont Paris couldn't inherit a roster that had Jermaine Couisnard, Keyshawn Bryant, Eric Stevenson, Tyquan Woodley. Like, you add Gigi Jackson to that group, now you're talking about a team that can compete for SEC. I mean, to win the SEC, I don't know. It depends what sort of bump Gigi could have given, but that would have been a really, really good team that you could expect to make you would for sure expect to make the tournament. But now you've got a roster full of transfers and grad transfers, and it's just a different game now. So it is going to be a delicate balance for Lamont Paris, having to balance. Well, on one hand, I got to temper expectations. If there was no Gigi Jackson on this team, people wouldn't hold it against him no matter what his record was.
Right.
Because they'd say, well, this team just can't compete. So now he's got to marry that with, well, now you've got the number one player in the country, so we expect you to make the tournament. That's just not how it works. So it is kind of a complicated position he's in right now.
Yeah, 803-404-6100. We'll get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines when we return. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game, streaming 24/7.
1 billion of us own a smartphone, and we know how addicting it can be.
Just go to iTunes or the Google Play Store and download our app.
So you never miss any of your favorite shows.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5
The Game.
Getting yourself back to proper health, being able to get out and play a little ball in the yard, maybe enjoy some time with the family, that is important. If you've been suffering from leg numbness, from back pain, from shoulder issues, it's time for you to contact the fantastic doctors at Casey Chiropractic Center. Dr. Roman and Dr. Pate Cooper have been in business for over 20 years, and they know how to take care of their clients. They've been taking care of clients again in the Midlands for over 20 years. And with that kind of experience, they can get you back to living the life you've been wanting to live pretty instantaneously. So give them a phone call today. 803-796-2424 is how you can get in touch with them and see what they can do for you. They file all major insurances and they work on all age groups. So even if your child has suffered maybe an injury in football and is experiencing a little bit of pain, Casey Chiropractic will help with them also. So go ahead, make that phone call today and get that appointment lined up. 803-796-2424. Casey Chiropractic, they have absolutely no crazy or excessive care plans. They just work with you as you go. That's right. They're going to do each and every treatment, ask you how you're feeling, if you're getting better, and they're going to work with you slowly over time to get you back to living the way you've wanted to live. So again, if you've had mid-back pain, neck pain, you got some headaches, maybe some leg and arm numbness, don't allow it to affect your life anymore. Call Casey Chiropractic today. 803-796-2424. That's Casey Chiropractic Center.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And we do have just one accident to let you know about. I-26 eastbound right there at I-20. So, of course, in Malfunction Junction, we would have a little bit of a tie-up. And that's I-26 eastbound there at I-20. Weather's looking pretty good for the next few days. Mix of clouds and sun today. Looking for a high of 93, 92 tomorrow, and 96 for your Wednesday. But it's up to 75 right now. 107.5 The Game.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
Did you know summer is the best time to get your carpets and air ducts cleaned? During the hot, humid summer months, bacteria and allergens are at an all-time high in your home. This summer, trust no one other than the cleaning experts at Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. With over 1,500 Google reviews, they are the most recommended cleaning company in the Midlands. And right now, they are having their huge summer sale. 15% off all cleaning services. Carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez is the right way to clean.
Dirty exterior? Don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works over time with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose end. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
New message.
Hey, man, it's Devin. You know, from that time you accidentally emailed me because you thought I was a different Devin. Oh, and your email signature said confidential. If you receive this in error, please delete. That's so you. Anyway, I heard you bought a boat. When are we setting sail, Captain?
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Oh, and no, you did not receive this message in error.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
Yeah, it's Coach Ice-T. Who's ready to spin? We're starting with a big hill. Let's ride.
Why is Ice-T leading our spin class?
Oh, it's probably the Honey Nut Cheerios. He found out they can help lower cholesterol. Now he's having fun taking care of his heart in all sorts of new ways.
That's right, Buzz. Now, spinners, really pour your heart into it and pick it up.
Learn more by picking up a box of Cheerios and check out our Pour Your Heart Into It audio workouts with Ice-T and Buzz to get your heart pumping.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
(803-404-6100). How you can be a part of the program this morning, talking GG Jackson, and now kind of moving forward a little bit and talking about expectations now for this coming season. Scott weighs in on our text line, says it's not fair to increase expectations on Coach Parrish because of one teenager, but if GG is a high draft pick next year, then Gamecocks should be better than I expect them to be. And well, again, when you say better than you expect them to be, Scott, I don't know what you initially expected them to be. I think that is a point. Like, you think that they'll be a little bit better, Patrick, but when we say better than what you expected, well, if you were expecting 8 wins, I don't think you're magically now saying, oh, okay, NIT or NCAA. You know, I just
9 wins.
That's where you draw the line. 9 wins. 803-404-6100. Out to the phone lines we go. David is up this morning. David, how you doing? What's on your mind? Do we have us a David?
He said he might end up getting into a bad zone, so perhaps that's happened.
All right. Let's stay on the phone lines then. Hopefully David will call us back when he gets out of that bad zone, so we want to hear what he has to say. Sterling is up next. Sterling, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm good, fellas, man. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing good.
Well, listen, as a season ticket holder for the men and women's basketball, probably for the last 10 years or so, I think that, I want to echo you guys' sentiments. Like, people should kind of curb their enthusiasm. I mean, it is a great haul for South Carolina, but realistically, based on the roster, everything that was lost from the roster, the experience of the players we have, I mean, we signed players out of transfer portal who average 2 points and 1 rebound a game. I mean, Gigi, I think I have more freedom to play. I'm really curious to see how Lamont Paris coaches. And for once, maybe in a while, to see what it's like to have a little more freedom for our players. But I don't see no more than 10 wins, and I'm the biggest Gamecock fan there is. But we had to be realistic. He's still an 18-year-old kid. He's still a college freshman. And coming into the SEC is not an easy thing to do, just as y'all pointed out with the Ben Simmons and the Anthony Edwards. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be any better. So I'm not shooting for more than 10 wins, honestly, fellas.
Appreciate the phone call, Sterling. Yeah, I mean, look, I would hope it's a little bit more than 10, and I don't know if there's a number you necessarily place on it, Patrick. What I'm hoping is that people aren't sitting here over the weekend going, oh yeah, now we're going to the NCAA tournament. That was the one. Now here we go. Like, that's where you got to be careful, because again, fans, fanatics, like, you start to draw the line, and Lamont Paris has got a lot working against him. But he's gotten off to, I think, a good start with being able to reel in one of the biggest prospects to come out of the Midlands, if not the biggest. I'm trying to think. PJ Dozier was up there. Obviously, Zion Williamson was not from the Midlands area. For old timers, and I might see if we can track down Chris Deering later this week. I would venture a guess that in terms of local, prospects, and maybe somebody can correct me and tell me of another one that's been higher rated. G.G. Jackson is number 2 on 24/7 Sports top 150 or whatever of the 2023 class. Patrick, I believe this is the highest rated recruit to come out of the Midlands, not the state, ever. I believe he's up there. And actually, just as a technicality, I believe Zion Williamson was number 3.
Was he? It was RJ Barrett than Zion, right?
RJ Barrett, Zion might have been
Cam
2.
Reddish was 3, I thought, yeah.
Okay, all right. So it might have been Zion too. Yeah, Zion was not number 1 in his class for whatever that means. I don't know, but yeah, but
The rankings are weird though, because we got a text saying Amani Bates reclassified and was still number 1. I'm seeing that Amani Bates was number 5 when he reclassified. So that was sort of the comparison that somebody tried to make on the text line. I don't think he's Amani Bates. Amani Bates was hyped as a 15-year-old, and then the hype sort of dwindled and things went awry for him. But G.G. Jackson, the buzz has consistently built, and it's reached its highest point yet. And I think that's the reason, because the buzz is so great right now, because he's been playing so well. That's the reason that he's reclassifying, not, and just because he knows, like, I'm ready. I'm ready to get to college. I'm ready to play against college level competition and get to the NBA.
Yeah, a couple of you weighing in. Ferrari says Jermaine O'Neal. Anonymous Texter says Stanley Roberts. Again, I don't think any of those were top 5 in their class. I could be wrong on Jermaine. I don't remember. I was a lot younger. Stanley and Jermaine are certainly the 2 guys that instantly come to mind. But in terms of Buddy Harper, Buddy was a guy that I played with, and he might have been up there. He was supposed to go to Cincinnati. He obviously got into some trouble. But Buddy Harper from Keenan, who was my age and led Keenan to a state championship in 2000. I think he led him to multiple state championships with Zach Norris. But I think Buddy Harper might have been up there every bit as high as he might have been a top 10, top 5 prospect. I can't.
The thing is, it can't get much higher. Everybody can throw out names of guys that were really highly recruited, but
yeah, you're right.
There's still a chance that he ends at number 1. So it's literally the max that you can get. And if not, it's just below. So it's not a stretch to say that he's the highest recruited player South Carolina's ever had.
Well, he's going to be in that class. Now this is going to get funny, and they're going to move him to the 2022 class, and it wouldn't be a shock. It wouldn't be a shock to see him end up outside of the top 10. Now, I'm not saying he's going to fall some ridiculous number, be like number 50, but it wouldn't be a shock. I don't know how they'll end up going about doing that when they reclassify everything. David is back on the Love Chevy phone lines. All right, David, now we got you there. What's on your mind this morning?
I'm thinking that attendance for basketball will be up. I'm not a basketball guy, but I plan on going because to me this is a real fresh start, and I'm looking to kind of get in on the ground level with them, and I feel like we have nothing to lose. Appreciate all y'all do. Hope you have a good one.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call. Yeah, they definitely have nothing to lose. There's no doubt about that. There's nothing to lose with this. You get him in. I think GG will have there's going to be ups and downs. I mean, Patrick, you agree with me. You're familiar with SEC basketball. There's some athletes in this conference. They're going to match up well with GG. He's going to match up okay with them. There's going to be some ups and downs this season. But again, as David just said, getting in on the ground floor, it will be more entertaining to watch at least. It'll give you a reason to really stay tuned in to what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm looking at this. So I'm looking at the list of the 2022 class. There are 5 SEC players in the top 15. There's a kid going to Alabama, a small forward going to Alabama at 6'8", 200. There's another kid same size. Oh, Julian Phillips. Well, GG will be higher than Julian Phillips, right?
According to on our text line, Miles weighs in and says Own 3 Sports has already moved him to the 2022 class, and he is the number 10 player overall.
Okay.
And
I don't know what he is on On3 right now, or what he was on On3 previously. I don't know if he was number 1 in that one. I just always go default to 247. But is he higher than Julian Phillips on On3? Let's check.
Okay.
Do you expect him to be? He's getting more buzz, right?
just because of the age, the 1 year difference, it wouldn't shock me. But I think Julian Phillips is outside of the top 10. So my initial thought is that he will be higher than Julian Phillips.
Okay. I'm pulling it up right now. So I'm seeing this must not be updated yet. I don't know what they're saying on 3 consensus. Oh, now I see it. Yeah. So Julian Phillips is at 15 on 3. So yes, G.J. Jackson is a top 10 player in that.
Okay. Yeah, they've got him there at. I'm a little confused at how I'm reading their rankings, but yeah, I see.
They have the composite, the on 3 consensus, and the industry comparison. I don't know how to read through all this. This is kind of confusing.
Yeah, I know there's a lot there, but anyway, 803-404-6100. We will continue on here and wrap up the Monday morning episode of the early game. It's Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Monday edition of the Extra Point, we'll be continuing to unpack a few of the storylines from SEC Media Days that we didn't get to last week, and just generally decompressing after a really fun, busy, eventful week that was SEC Media Days. Also, I'm recording this on a Friday afternoon after having just seen Nope, new Jordan Peele movie, and I'm probably going to need to talk about that for at least a segment. Wes Mitchell will be with us to talk recruiting and start to look ahead to the football season. It'll be a packed Monday show starting at 9 o'clock.
The Extra Point
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
We have a report of a tie-up 2 Notch Road just north of I-20. Also in the Malfunction Junction area, I-26 eastbound right there at I-20. 93 for your high today, 92 tomorrow, and right now it's a little bit breezy, 75, 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. There's plenty of gold to go around on the Carolina Gold Series of Scratch-Offs with top prizes ranging from $5,000 all the way up to $300,000. Players can choose from 4 tickets at $1, $2, $5, and $10 price points. See SCEducationLottery.com for game odds and details.
Icebrook Marsh, LLC is responsible for this ad. The following is an important message for anyone who was a serviceman or had family members stationed at or worked at the Marine Corps Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. You may be entitled to significant cash compensation. That's right. If you or a loved one worked, lived, or served at Camp Lejeune anytime between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial cash compensation for illnesses caused by water contamination. Call 800-931-9594. Even if you were denied a disability claim in the past. Officials at Camp Lejeune were aware of water contamination on the base for decades, but failed to warn those who were stationed at or worked at the base. Studies have shown the water at Camp Lejeune was contaminated with toxic chemicals that are linked to many types of cancer and other serious diseases, including cardiac birth defects. If you or a loved one worked, lived, or served at Camp Lejeune and were later diagnosed with cancer, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, or Parkinson's disease, call 800-931-9594 now, as you may be entitled to a meaningful financial settlement. Call right now, 800-931-9594. Don't wait. Call 800-931-9594. 800-931-9594.
Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year you won't go back to school. You'll be ready to move forward and master 5th grade math.
I can't do this. It's impossible.
Not you, Dad, your daughter. Staples will help her move forward.
Right.
Right now, Staples comp books and number 2 pencils are just 50 cents each. Plus, 2 pocket paper folders are only 25 cents each. Everything on your list at amazing prices. Staples, we're not going back. We're going forward to school. Ends 8/27 in store only, limit 30.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune in to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Join Pat as he talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Don't go into retirement unprepared. Listen each Sunday morning at 10 to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Kalos Capital Incorporated.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing way up on that ladder? You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm trying to unclog these gutters.
That's smart. I had water damage from my gutters last year. It cost me $10,000.
Wait, $10,000?
Yeah, and from over here, it looks like water's been pouring over your clogged gutters, and it's probably doing real damage to your foundation. You need to do what I did. Get off the ladder and call Leaf Filter.
Yeah, but I need to get these gutters flowing now.
That's why you need to call Leaf Filter. They'll clean and realign your gutters and install their exclusive micro mesh screen system so nothing gets in your gutters except water.
So Leaf Filter protects my house from day.
Yeah, that would have Phillips and Malachi Smith plus Jackson would have made them an NCAA tournament team. That would have definitely, or at least given you hope.
Let's head back in.
All right.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game. With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
On your home of the Gamecocks, the early game.
107.5 The Game.
You guys are.
Final segment of the morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perret, Jen Jensen. We have covered G.G. Jackson. We have covered NASCAR, where a wild weekend there up in Pocono. Where it's one thing when the I guess the first place guy gets disqualified, but what was kind of crazy about that was first and second place. Like that's
yeah.
From
Basically, kind of sharing pit crews. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just kind of
makes it smell really bad. Really bad.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs is not a cheater. Joe Gibbs is the greatest coach in the history of football, and he would never cheat. I would just like get in front of that right
there
now.
There you go. Yep.
Nothing to do with Joe Gibbs.
There you go. So yeah, we've covered that. We'll talk more about that as the week goes on, obviously, and kind of catch up with Kerry Tharp about that on Thursday. We'll have some other stuff throughout the week. Again, the Birdies with me golf tournament. There is some potential big recruiting news for South Carolina football that could happen this coming weekend. 3 4-star targets are expected to make their, or they've said that they would make their announcement this coming weekend. 4-star defensive end Montique Rames, I think that's how you say it correctly. Montique Rames out of Sumter is expected to make his announcement on Saturday the 30th. He would be South Carolina's highest rated rush end if he does indeed commit to South Carolina. And Patrick, landing another in-state prospect is something that certainly Shane Beamer would love to do and continue to build on this recruiting class.
Do not let the buzz die down. That's what you got to keep doing. Just keep pushing forward as we get closer to football season. They had a really good week leading up to SEC Media Days. Obviously, Shane Beamer stole the show at SEC Media Days and even before SEC Media Days with that video, the Soulja Boy video. So there's a lot of buzz right now. We're getting close to football season and it's only continuing to amplify. So if you can keep adding big players, you just got to keep that buzz going, keep the narrative going that South Carolina is the spot to be right now. And recruiting just kind of snowballs like that. So this will be a huge get, and hopefully it'll be a sign of even more things to come.
6'6", 240 pounds. Again, he is the number 4 overall prospect in the state of South Carolina for 2023. 2 other guys expected to make their announcements. Carmelo Taylor, a 4-star wide receiver out of the state of Virginia. A track guy. He is a speed guy, Patrick. And one thing I've noticed, South Carolina really focusing on adding not just big bodies to their wide receiving group, but really focusing on adding elite speed. Kelton Henderson, the other wide receiver commitment right now, is again a track guy. It looks like one of the main focuses is getting faster on the perimeter to be able to burn people or to make short passes where people can then maybe bust it and take it long.
So that's also been a strategy of a lot of maybe what you would call overachieving programs. Like that's what Baylor's done for a while. I think Texas Tech has recently put a big emphasis on that. Like, don't necessarily even just look at the tape. Go grab kids that are freak athletes, that are size, speed combos. Go get big, strong kids. Go get fast kids, and then just coach them up. Get them on campus and coach them up. You're not always going to beat out like those two schools, for example, are not going to beat out Texas and Oklahoma for the top kids in the state. So go get kids that you can develop and can turn into stars for you. And I think just focusing on the athleticism, if you're confident in your coaching staff, like if you're going to go get a wide receiver that's really fast, who else do you want working with him on a day-to-day basis than Justin Stepp? Like if you feel confident in your position coaches and your developers, which South Carolina does right now, I think their fans and particularly someone like Justin Stepp, just get them on campus and get your hands on them and just build them into whatever you can. Like that's what you got to do. Focus on the traits right now.
He will make his announcement on Sunday, the 31st, and then the final person set to make their announcement this coming weekend. I had enough problems saying Dylan Lonergan. I'm definitely not going to get the offensive lineman.
Don't even try. Don't even try.
Yeah, we're just going to go with Big Tree, the offensive lineman out of the Maryland area. South Carolina, one of his favorites, kind of coming down to South Carolina and Maryland for him. I think he did have an Ohio State offer, but I think they took another tackle here recently, and sounds like they aren't any longer recruiting him. But Big Tree, I was looking to get his measurables real quick and just see if I could pull that up. But certainly a guy that South Carolina would like to land and add him to the roster. So 3 potential commitments coming for South Carolina football this weekend. If they were to land all 3 of those, they would jump into the top 20 of the 24/7 Sports top 20 recruiting rankings. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the week. Whew. It's going to be one of those weeks, Patrick. Things are slowing down just for a week, and then we'll really get going.
A lot of talk about Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell maybe getting traded. Maybe we'll get to talk a lot of NBA tomorrow.
Dare to dream.
Could be some NBA talk tomorrow. Might get back into those television shows. I'm sure we'll come up with something goofy to get into throughout the month, throughout the week. We got plenty going on. So we're almost there, Patrick. We're almost fully back to football season.
39 days.
39
really 32
days.
days. 32 days.
There you go. 32 days.
15.
We'll do it all again tomorrow. For Patrick Brett, for Jen Jensen, I'm Bill Gunner. You've been listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks.
All right.
All right, looking good, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, feel good, RL.
All right. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Y'all take care.
Bye, guys.